メガネ。絶対チー牛って言われると思った今。絶対言われるって思った。絶対ウィーブとか言われると思った。So what's up everybody? Yes, in this stream, we all know who the best is and who the cringiest is. That's what we're gonna do in this stream. Yes, we've got yes. We've got yes. You look like you eat cheese gyudon. Yes, I actually have never eaten that yet. 前髪ないなった。うん。ちょっといろいろあって。ちょっとね、ここだけの話。めちゃくちゃ急いでて今日こうなってしまいました。So, what we're gonna do first is cheese gyudon eating stream win. I actually want to do it, yeah. So, I want to look like I eat chigyu, like cheese gyudon, right? And then, I want to go to like sukiya とか、sukiya かあれchigyuは。And then, I want to act like I'm actually a nerd, right? I mean, I am, but still. Like, I wanna go like, can I have one shigi, please? Were you busy or something? Yes. So I wanna do that, but... Anyways. So, what we're gonna do in this stream is here. I prepared this thing. And there's like YouTube behind it. And let me just delete it. How do I... Okay. So this list, I basically made it, right? And one thing we know for sure is I obviously made it to just put my name here. And like there are more people like that actually deserves to be here, like people who actually say senpai kakoi. Yes, those people actually deserve to be here. If you've ever said senpai kakoi or senpai kawaii, oh, yeah, you deserve to be here. And people who say learning Japanese is cringe. If you say it's cringy, then you are also being cringy. Just saying. That's kind of what I've been wanting to like mention it for a while. You know how there are like a lot of people who say like, "Oh, you learn Japanese? You weep. That's cringe, bro." And I've been wanting to say that it's never cringy to learn a language. Like, what's wrong with like freaking learning a language? I mean, it's never cringy. Like, seriously, a lot of you guys like actually asked me the question like, "Hey, Sora, is it cringy to learn Japanese? Hey, Sora, is it cringy to name myself in Japanese? Learn to excel, please." I mean, thank you so much for the donation, S. Didn't I do it right? So yes. People who say learning Japanese is cringe is cringy, and people who say senpai kakoi are cringy, and so that's true. Like obviously, he deserves to be here. I mean, it's really cringy. So, and a lot of you guys have been asking me like where Dogen's gonna be, right? So Dogen's like one YouTuber like that's really popular. Like freaking, he's actually 20 times more popular than me, and he's actually famous as well. Like everybody pretty much knows like who Dogen is, right? You guys know who Dogen is, right? Dogen, Dogen. When's Sora going to play Fortnite? I don't play it anymore. I used to. Dogen is 90% Japanese. He is culturally very Japanese. It's crazy actually. No? So Matt versus Japan. I can probably just mention him here too. So yeah, the funny guy. Yes, he is actually really smart. And when it comes down to like talking about who speaks Japanese well and who doesn't, what you have to know is that you always have to keep in mind that the amount of like cultural knowledge you have is like big, right? And Dogen is he seems to he acts like he freaking grew up in Japan. And that's kind of why I want to put him here. Kinda. But I can't because like this is like basically Japanese people, right? And 5150 hold, thank you so much for the donation. Dogen has half the amount of subs you have, Sora. The sub count doesn't mean anything though. Like seriously, in 2022. It doesn't mean anything. It just means like you've been doing YouTube like for a while. Like that's really it. So I want to put Dogen here, but I mean he's not Japanese. And we can tell like still like Japanese is his second language, right? So I'm gonna just put him here. But this is like the highest you can go if you're not Japanese. Like, so this is basically you're Japanese or you're half Japanese or like you just watched a lot of anime to the point like where I think I can just actually make a tier just only for Dogen. And thank you, Johnny Bethy Poo Poo. Ahoy, Mr. Sexy Shorts. You don't have to talk about this, but are you actually a virgin like me? If yes, then you can call me Virgin Senpai. Thank you so much for the donation. So, yeah, Dogen. A Dogen tier. I know it sounds kind of cringy, but like I really kind of wanted to put a, special tier for Dogen because like Dogen's like that good actually. So Dogen tier is like Dogen tier is like the highest you can go as a foreigner. So, well, Dogen, right? And who else? Ask Japanese も日本語うまいですよ. So like Ask Japanese, Kathy Cat, right? So I've met her before in real life, right? I've met her before and we sort of like did a collab before. And I don't know how much Japanese she speaks, so let me check her actually. I know like she speaks some like got like Japanese, but I still want to check how much she speaks, right? Ask Japanese. Kathy Cat.
My job is to make college easy.
I refuse to do this Dogen nasal. Yellow is the highest I can go. Dogen tier is basically you really have to like devote yourself to like, learn Japanese. Like, it's the highest you can go. Like, it's basically, what is it? Like, if you play Fortnite, it's basically you're like 12 and you wreck everybody. Like, that's just like what Dogen tier is like, basically.
Play. And you hear the Japanese language much more spoken casual in Japan. It's nice and got this member up really right. So one.
Do you guys know like if there's a video of her speaking Japanese? Hey Sora, didn't you do an interview with Kathy Cat? Yeah, right.
じゃあ私は初対面の日本人にハグしたらちょっとびっくりしちゃう。びっくりします。じゃあ私は初対面の日本人にハグしたらちょっとびっくりしちゃう。びっくり。でその目が。Hey, it's Kathy Cat and today 何ですか？海外の人を見てちょっと羨ましいなと思ってるところは何ですか？
Dogen tier requires a deep dive into Japanese linguistics. Yeah, it's that. So Dogen tier is basically you have to be a linguist. Like you have to be actually into the whole like language learning stuff. This is like A tier. Again, A tier is basically like you speak Japanese really fluently. Like that's just what that is like. Dogen tier is basically you're a linguist. So, and so using that logic here, I feel like Kathy Cat is gonna be here. She might be a linguist, like Dogen. I'm not really sure. But the difference here and here is just basically because like the difference here and here is basically like how much a language nerd you are. Basically like Dogen. Like so Dogen basically knows like every single stuff like when it comes down to Japanese language, right? So but it doesn't mean like Dogen's better or whatever. Like these are technically the same. So Joey's like obviously here. Yeah, he's like 100% here. Like it's impossible to know that he grew up in Australia. Like it's just not really complaining, but Ken Dogen orange. Okay. Orange. So this? Oh, this is not orange. This? Yeah. As thank you, Dogen self-admittedly doesn't speak Japanese outside in real life because reasons. So are we taking that into account? Kathy is very conversational. So like again, yeah, let's just get rid of like this tier and just like put Dogen here. Because that makes more sense, right? This way. But Joey, the anime man, is obviously here because like when I first saw him on YouTube, I thought he was Japanese. Like he grew up in Japan and he just learned English in Japan. But in reality, what it was for him was that he grew up in Australia, right? Chris Broad is not half. He is half, but still. Like being half Japanese doesn't mean like you speak Japanese like well, right? So there are some like half Japanese people who I kind of want to put here as well, actually. But Chris Broad is probably here, and A people, like people who belong in the A tier, are the ones like who you should like learn Japanese from. Like obviously, Chris Broad is here, probably. Yeah, like Japanese people. I can see Japanese people freaking going up to him and be like, your Japanese is very good. Like I can imagine him getting that from like everybody. So, ヤナッチチャンネルはマジで日本語うまい。ヤナッチチャンネルって何？ヤナッチチャンネル？あ、オーストリアの人。Let's see, I'm actually curious. Oh, Mav versus Japan? I mean, I'm sorry, I forgot about him. Yeah, he's here. He's 100% here. Nihongo Jozu tier? I mean, I can do that, but I really kind of want people to know like what I'm kind of trying to do here. So, well, let me just see who Yanachi Channel is.
どうもこんにちは、やなです。今日はですね、ビザ申請の日でございます。イエーイ！やっとビザ申請できることになりまして、めっちゃ嬉しいんですけど。
これはちょっとすごいな。Alright, wait. Thank you, Nuts. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you so much.
書類とかもね、書類も全部揃ってきたし、パスポートも持って行って、ビザ申請しに行きたいと思います。大使館行くのめっちゃ久々。
いや、これはここだわ。So, like, for the first, like, 10 seconds, I was like, wait, she sounds really Japanese. I was like, wait, maybe she grew up in Japan or something. Because, like, she sounded so Japanese to the point, like, where I was like, is she really Japanese? And the way how she moves, like, doing, like, this and that, is very Japanese-like as well. Like, that's just what high schoolers in Japan do, right? But, at the same time, I just felt some, like, foreignness from her. So I was like, oh, maybe she can be here. Like, God tier is again, like, this is basically like, God tier is basically like you have to be Japanese, basically. And thank you, Ma Nuts, for the donations. Thank you so much. And Summer Sensei, yeah, I know about her too. So I didn't know about her, but like she did a collab with Dogen, right? So Summer Sensei is gonna be here, I think. Isn't it kind of amazing like how there are so many people here already? Like there's only Chris Brown here in this tier. And thank you 5150 hold. Do you take suggestions? How about rating Australian Japanese seiyuu? Shuuchi that's Japanese. I mean I don't know about him, but he's gonna be here. I mean I don't know about him, but he's gonna be here automatically. I've never heard him like speak Japanese or anything, but he's gonna be here. I mean there are reasons. Either Japanese, raised in Japan, or half Japanese, and so he has like a Japanese name already, right? At that point, he's gonna just sound Japanese either way, and it's just like that. So they usually have like Japanese parents, and they usually grew up like speaking Japanese and English both, and yeah, this is just kind of tier pink. This is not even like God tier though. This is more like your Japanese tier, basically. I think this works, right? And thank you, Ma Nuts and Satya Singh. エヴァさんエンターテインメントはマジ上手やで。And JD, why is your English so good? Cause I watched a lot of like Hollywood movies and I learned English from that. And I watch a lot of like American shows and I'm sorry. To just explain like my situation with like only one word. I grew up in like speaking English and Japanese both. Evason Entertainment. And so like I know like a lot of people want me to talk about Joji as in like Filthy Frank. I kind of want to put him here though, for reasons. I mean, I know like he is God tier is Pera, and it's not like Pera tier is basically here. That's just what Pera is like. And Manats, thank you so much for the donation. God tier is like, I mean, they're Japanese. Like, why do we have to even like talk about him here, kind of thing, right? So, but Filthy Frank is like. I really want to put him here. George was half. Yeah, I know he's half, but so I've seen him speak Japanese and stuff, right? But like, it's still kind of. Yeah, we can know. Like, yeah. As to him, it's just I don't know like how to say this, but. I know he's half Japanese, and I know that he grew up in Japan and whatever, but from my experience, like watching Filthy Frank like for freaking a long time, there are some things I kind of want to point out, like when it comes down to, but yeah, I mean, he's like he freaking grew up in Japan, right? So yeah, I'm gonna just put him here, yeah. I mean, he grew up in Japan, like that itself. Means like he's like in this tier. So and Mike Roylands, interesting list. Thank you so much for the donation, and thank you so much for the donation, Nuts. Isn't it kind of funny how I have to say like Nuts like every time I see a donation from you? Not what was the YouTuber? Evason Entertainment.もうそういう感じの人か。
こんな感じのヒロワーズの広告は誰が作っているのか。この機種はどうしていつも負けてるのか。私たちのエージェントがトップシークレットショーでその質問に答えてくれるそうです。あ る動画をズームすると顔666という名前で見える。ネット検索してみても何も出てこないので。
Yeah.
スイカ割りするぞなんだ今なんかおお引き取ったみたいな。ベン。
あー、これちょっとすごいな。ちょっと待って。
スイカ割りって残酷だと思う。
これちょっとすごいな。ちょっとこれすごいな。Manas, thank you so much for the donation. And Darwin H, which VTubers are you planning to rate? That's a great question. Let's see. And thank you so much for the donation again, Manas. Thank you. ちょっとこれ難しいな。
お前の提案だよ。飢餓は世界でも深刻な問題なのに自分から破壊するために買うなんて。だからお前が昨日買いにその足元のメロンはなんだ。スイカは何もしてないんだよ。この水とメロンでウォーターメロンってか。お前それでいいのか。お前の
あ、これちょっとむずい。これむずい。ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。
ダジャレでいいのか。ジャックさん素直に言えよ。売り切れてたんだろスイカ。
これどっちだ。 Wait, I really cannot tell like if he actually grew up in Japan or not. これどっちだ。 What country is he from though? これどっちだ。これわからんねえぞ俺。Manats, thank you so much for the donation. カナダ人。So he's not Japanese. But did he grew up in Japan though? Is it possible to get fluent in Japanese only with Duolingo? No. Wait, did he grew up in Japan? He has an American accent I can hear. No, I mean that's not.
何もしてないんだよ。
I mean, so people say like, oh, he has this accent. Like, you guys basically talk about them based on like what they look like, right? So what you should do is do this and just listen to them like speaking the language, right?
ジャックさん素直に言えよ。
And do you just imagine a Japanese guy speaking Japanese, or do you just like see, like, you know, an American like trying to speak Japanese in your head, like what's happening, right?
売り切れてたんだろスイカ。
これむずいな。ちょっと待って。これどっちだ。
やるか。うん。瓦、豆腐、割り箸、餅、海、素数、砂の城、サッカーボール。あの夏の思い出。もう6年前か。幼なじみのさとみちゃんと行った夏祭り。的量スイカ、桃。
これどっちだ。ちょっとわかんない。日本人と同じレベルの日本語ですね。本当にそれ。これわからんわ。I really don't know actually.
おぎゃー、穴、うったスイカ。俺。
だってさ。So here's the thing. Here's the thing.
的量スイカ、桃、おぎゃー。
Like, why does he know about this though? Oh yeah. Do you guys know like what that even means and what like he just did here? Yeah, I can just like put him in God tier. This is kind of impossible. Like, why though? No clue what that is. Yeah, I mean, so like if you learn Japanese, like if you're just like in Japan as a foreigner, Momotaro is super well known, but like Ogya is like something. Ogya wa ne, it's something like nobody really knows though. Yeah, Ogya is like basically what babies sound like. And this is basically, yeah, like a Momotaro reference, right? But Ogya is like the first thing babies say. And like how he grew up in Japan, his dad was part. Yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Yeah, I mean, he grew up in Japan, you say, right? That actually makes sense, because if you just like learn Japanese, you wouldn't say like Ogya here. It's something like, いやこれはね、エヴァソン like it's impossible to seriously know that he's not even Japanese. He could be here. Like it's so people here are like they're freaking really fluent as well. Like to the point like where we can tell like, oh, they put a lot of time, like a lot of effort into learning Japanese, right? So this is like the highest they can go. But this is basically like, oh, you grew up in Japan kind of thing. And then, I mean, one of you guys like literally just said like, he grew up in Japan, right? So, did he really grow up in Japan though? I mean, that actually makes sense. Cause 夏バテ回避法とか絶対言わないだろ。日本人しか言わないよ。I mean, he literally said like 夏バテ回避法 and that's like something like I only hear from like Japanese people. ちょっと wait, so did he really grew up in Japan though? The anime man grew up in Japan. I mean, he grew up in Australia. マット vs ジャパンと話した日本育ちのカナダ人。So he grew up in Japan. He grew up in Japan. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so like I wasn't wrong about putting him here. Basically. I wasn't wrong, right? I wasn't wrong about putting him here. Yeah, so basically Ebason Entertainment, so cultural knowledge is part of getting to God here, yes. Cause like that's kind of what's important to be like in that tier, because like this is like, oh, I'm Japanese, like this is where you can say like I'm from Japan, like I'm Japanese. And Ebason Entertainment, apparently he grew up in Japan. He's a Canadian who lives in Japan and who grew up in Japan, right? I mean, that makes sense, because like things he says are something I only hear from like Japanese people. Like there are a lot of people like that I see that learned Japanese outside of Japan and are freaking really, really fluent, but just because like they have like a different background, like culturally, like they just kind of, it's not they sound different, but what they say is different. But this guy just like is way too much Japanese. Like culturally, he's just way too much Japanese. Like it's insane. So, and Marco Harato, thank you so much for the donation. So, if he really is just a Canadian who's never been to Japan, like he's freaking insane. But I mean, I can tell like he's Japanese. I mean, so. And out of like all the viewers I have, I kind of want to put Ravine-san here too, but I mean, she's just a viewer. She's not a YouTuber or anything. I mean, Ravine-san's like literally right here saying like, yeah, but that's just kind of, you know, not what we are doing here. So, watch C-Dog VA video where he joined a professional voice acting studio. He speaks Japanese there, half the video. エヴァさん日本語めっちゃうまいけど日本生まれなのかね。日本語育ちらしいっす。日本育ちらしいっすよ。So he grew up in Japan, right?バイク系 YouTuber のローマン。これですかね。これだよな、多分。
SK2 まるで引力のように素肌に吸い込まれていくピテラ50種類以上の成分この夏
I mean, I know like he's gonna probably be in this tier because I've seen him speak Japanese and I know like he'd still like learning Japanese, but oh, and I kind of want to put PewDiePie here. So I know he moved to Japan recently, but I kind of have been watching PewDiePie a lot myself, right? And yes, so people in Japan would still like tell him, you know, oh, your Japanese is good, but still, I feel like he just recently actually started learning Japanese. So yeah, that. Let's see. I cannot skip it. Yeah. Yeah, Pew's still learning. Yeah. So.
Japan has long had an
13年には東京府東京市浅草区にお酒 you
know what though? One thing I just want to mention is like he's gonna freaking be popular in Japan. He gets like all the ladies if he speaks like that. God damn! I mean that's like actually perfect. And thank you, Ma Vaginas. Thank you so much for the donation. So there's like this one thing I have to mention, right? No. So if you are in God tier, you are not gonna be popular in Japan because like you're Japanese. Like people are gonna just see you as a Japanese guy. Like that's really it. If you're in these tiers basically, like B or C, then people would be like, that's so kawaii desu, cute desu, eh. So, I mean, because like they sound different. So yeah, that. So she has like that way of like speaking where girls basically would go like, Kono senpai, kawaii desu.
違う。日本人向けの中華料理店。
Yeah, so this here. It's sometimes better to speak Japanese that way, by the way. I mean, it's the same thing in English too. Like, if you freaking sound Japanese, like when speaking English, people would go like, oh my gosh, shin so kawaii desu, right? I mean, there are freaking some TikTokers like who fake being Japanese. So, and thank you so much for the donation, and what is this? What is this I'm seeing? Login.
Japan has long had an obsession with voice actors quite unlike any other country. Compared to countries...
I mean, she grew up in Japan, like, it literally says.
こんにちは。こんにちは。どなたでしょうか。
サラです。どこの？バングラデシュ出身で、日本育ちでインターナショナルスクールのサラです。
I mean, she literally just said like she grew up in Japan.
インターナショナルスクール。インターナショナルスクールのサラ。よろしくお願いします。
Oh, this guy?
サラとね、僕もこの間撮影で初めて会って。でリアナとすでにもう友達で。
あ、これちょっと待って、むずい、ちょっと待って、let me actually hide the video, right? Because it's really hard to just know, like.
話したらなんか、もう女子の俺のこと知ってくれてて、いろんな話で盛り上がって、で僕たちこの国際トークをね、普段やってるから、もうぜひ出演してください。
あー、いや、これは日本人だな。これ日本人だな。ちょっと待って。wait、これ日本人だな。ちょっと待って。
もう一発 OK で、二つ返事で。
はい。the guy in the I don't even know how to even spell that. Yanawardo. I mean, yeah, this guy. Yeah, I mean, he's either like he's Japanese or like he freaking grew up in Japan, right? So. 日本育ちとハーフはうまくても不思議ではない。そうだからこれ用意したんですよね。このティアをじゃないと絶対みんな日本人上げてくると思って。Have you heard of the difference between Kei-san before becoming Kiryu Koko and after graduating? So Kiryu Koko, yeah, I mean, I kind of have. It's not like I watch her, but I've known her for a while, and it's not like I've known her, but like I've known about her for a while, and she used to be here. Like, so Kiryu Koko was here, basically. But Kei-san wanna hear なんだよな. Actually, maybe here. It's weird, yeah. But Kiryu Koko was basically, yeah, like her. So you said like Kiryu Koko Kei-san's native, right? But she didn't really grow up in Japan though. So, and like her Japanese was kind of like, when I first saw her, I was like, oh, she must be an American who probably learned Japanese in the States. And I was sort of like, right, I mean, she's like Japanese American, but still. When I first saw her, I was like, oh, that's Nihongo Jozu. So I was like, she's gonna be here. Then she became Kei-san like after a while, right? And she suddenly freaking like sounds like actually fluent. She's like between these two, but yeah, maybe she's still here because like there's so much Americanness coming from Kei-san. So Aki Dearest is she was here before. she was here before. So I've known about her channel for a while because I mean I watch the Anime Man, so like obviously, yeah. でもな, but still like people would tell her like her Japanese is good, but probably Aki Dearest is here because like she literally just started learning Japanese recently, right? No? Using that definition here? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Still, like, people would tell her Japanese is, like, good. I mean, that's just, like, how people in Japan are like, right? Yeah, Aki Dearest is here. Yeah, probably. But, yeah, she can be here, too, at the same time, so, I don't know. サワヤンは日本人じゃん。サワヤンは日本人じゃん。ちょっと言わなくてもいいよ、もう。サワヤンは日本人じゃん。I mean, Sawayan's Japanese though. I mean, so do you guys know like this one guy called Sawayan? I mean, Sawayan channel っていうのがあって。So here, he is Japanese though. You really cannot just like talk about him. So there's like this guy called Sawa. I think it's called Sawa, right? He has like this channel called Sawayan Games. He's like Joji. It's not even like Joji. He legit just like eats Japanese 100%. He grew up in Japan straight up. Like he never like went to. He's a Ukrainian, but still, he's straight up Japanese. Like how he acts and how he sounds is like so Japanese. Just watch this video because it's actually hilarious. If you want to see a Caucasian guy acting like Japanese and freaking speaking Japanese like a Japanese person, like this is him. 長崎県佐世保北高校長崎県佐世保北高校世界史コース分1です。皆さんこんにちは。サワヤンゲームズでした。 That's very Japanese entertainment. サワヤンウクライナ人じゃないんだ。ウクライナ人ですけどあれ日本育ちだから。And as thank you, change B to Japanese people ask how long you lived there. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do that. Yeah. And then Connor would be here, but I'm not really sure. リクラーメンって誰だ？リクラーメン？リクラーメン？ラオシュなんか、I think I know about it channel. Google 翻訳を使って、そう、people who use Google Translate to talk to people. I mean, I've been making fun of like those people like for a while, but still, like seriously, if you use Google Translate and you think like you're fluent, then yeah, I mean, like what are you even doing, right? Let me just change the ゴシックにしようかな。ゴシックしよう。ゴシックだと分かりやすいよね。Okay, that makes sense more. リクラーメン、yes, リクラーメン、yes, 寿司ラーメンリクですね。寿司ラーメンリクは、yeah, he's Japanese, so I mean, obviously. And Steward Codden, thank you so much for the donation. I read everything, right? 日本育ちとハーフを別枠にした方がいい。同じようなもんだと思うんだよな。ハーフだけだったら多分ここに来るんですよね。もしくはここ。まだ桐生高校とかまさにそれ。あれは日本、ジャパニーズアメリカンだけどっていう。そう。Gaming with memes. Okay. I'm actually curious like who that is too. Oh, this?
The little toots. Got toe. Okay, I know toe. Toe is this one.
Yeah, here. I mean, she's like literally just like learning, right? So, I didn't know about her, but yeah. People who don't study use Google Translate. Yeah, that's kind of cringy though, at the same time, so. Looks like Rin. Rin-san ka. Rin-san. I actually want to put her here. Cause like when I think of Rin-san, I automatically say like Earth Blaster, like Earth Blaster. PDR さんはここでしょ。PDR さんはここだよ。PDR さんはここだよ。PDR さんは絶対ここ。PDR さんは絶対ここ。リンさん。But actually, no, that's not right. And Miss Mysterious 13, thank you. I'm curious your thoughts on Richardo TV. They have now started to teach Japanese through social media too. Let's see. 見えねえよ、わかる。今のふざけてたんで、映す気はなかったです。Which one? Did you spell it right? Did you spell it right? Wait, did you spell it right? Richardo TV. ランキング見ない。あ、今すいません。今 YouTube 見てます。But this is the yeah thing. ピカミはピカミか。Wait, ピカミか。それはどっちだろう。
いただいて手が震えた。ってめっちゃなった。そう。やばいゴブリンだからスレイヤーされちゃう。
この人ね、難しいんだよな。Yeah, I mean, she's gonna be like either like A or God tier, right? ちょっと見てみよう。Sorry, you missed my donation, really? Oh, thank you, Lemon Jongi. This couple met in Japan after the American guy lived in Japan for 5 years. He's 100% fluent and they strictly speak Japanese. Okay, let me just watch it later. But I just really want to know like who Richardo TV is. But Pikami. Let me check Pikami first.
I always heard that like in the US school they have like a tons of So, there's a Japan.
English ka. I guess I can just like watch her stream or something. この人は確かハーフ、いやそうですね、ハーフですね、この人。
大丈夫ここの民宿誰か死なない？
But so the thing about it is like, if I want to put people here, like I pretty much have to consider that like the cultural like aspect as well. Like what I mean is like, even though they are fluent, if I cannot feel the Japaneseness from them, like they cannot be here, right? So that's kind of why like Dogen Matt versus Japan, like everybody else is here, because I can still like feel the foreignness from them, which is not a bad thing by the way. But people here are basically like, I mean, they're Japanese, what the hell kind of thing. So let's see.
殺人事件起きない？そうなんだ。
種をまいたのはここの窓のすぐ下なんだ。
ザロマンチックじゃん。再年海外日記。His Japanese is so good.
That's one thing Japanese people say, bro. That's one thing. Seriously. Your Japanese is so good. 日本語上手ですね is like only like you're not allowed to say it if you're not Japanese. So like literally she is yeah, she belongs here. So I mean, yeah, Pikami is like, yeah, good got here. And Christian, thank you. Look up Ariana Grande speaking Japanese. I know the video, and I have to say she's here, probably. And Madara Uchiwa, thank you. Filthy Frank, he's here. But I'm not sure, like, if I can actually put him here, because I can feel some kind of foreignness, yeah, from her. she's not D tier because like she actually studies like Japanese. Like D is like I don't care about Japanese kind of thing. Like basically people like I don't know who like and people like these basically. And thank you S. Oh wait, who's that dude dogging clubbed with that pretended? Oh, Yabatan. Yabatan is here. Actually, when he's being serious, he can be here. Wait. So, Mr. Yabatan's like, let me actually watch the video later though. I'm on junkie. Yabatan, he plays like this character, right? And when he's playing the character, like he doesn't really try to sound fluent, but when he's being serious, like he actually freaking sounds like insanely fluent. And you cannot see that on his channel. So.
でもペイディなら3回後払いでも分割手数料なし。ピザマークのあるお店で便利。ペイディ。
動画っていう動画です。みんなに聞きたい。大丈夫かな？解けたかな？それ確認したいから行きましょう。おいで。暑いけど大丈夫？
Yeah, so again, like Kei-san different tier than Coco, cause like so again, when she was Kiryu Coco, like her Japanese wasn't that good. I mean, her Japanese kind of changed, right? And when she became Kei-san, like she freaking like just started sounding like insanely fluent. So I was like, oh damn.
ようこそ。ここはどこ？表参道。ここは日焼けスポット。日焼けスポット。
Yabatan's here. Never mind. Yeah, Yabatan's here. That doesn't mean like his Japanese is bad way, nothing by the way. But still, like compared to like Dogen, ここにいてもいいかな。
めっちゃ涼しい。めっちゃいいじゃん。ありがとう。初めて見たよ。どうですか？でも日焼け止めもらったから。
So the thing about it is like when he's out of character, like he can be here. I mean, yeah. When he's like out of character, he can be here, right? But when he's like being a YouTuber, like entertaining people, then he's gonna be here. So サワヤンも日本語上手。いや、サワヤンは日本人で。あれは日本人っすよ。あれは上手とかじゃない、マジで。あれは上手とかじゃない。 yeah, Yabatan's here. Yabatan's definitely here. Cause there's like, way too much like foreignness. Oriental Pearl somewhat. Let me just watch the channel later because I want to watch this before nothing.
問題をブレンに出題しようと思います。前回英語をやったからね。今回は日本語をやろうと思って。難しいの出そうかな。じゃあ、スズメの涙。知らないよ。想像して。全然わかんない。スズメの涙だよ。悲しいこと。ああ。水？あ、でも。ああ。ネガティブな方かな、意味合い的には。ちっちゃいスズメから。 難しいなこれ。むずいな。Oh, let me just watch it later. I mean, yeah. Wait, let me. 出る涙。でもネガティブなこと？ネガティブ、ネガティブなことが。Yeah. So probably. Here maybe, cause this tier is basically like, let's say like a.
like Japanese teacher tier is basically like what this is like, right? So they can teach Japanese and you should learn Japanese from like those people. Like that's just kind of what this tier is like. And B is like how long have you been in Japan? D tier, like that, it doesn't even have to be here actually, because yeah, I can just like remove this and let's just make it D. Mi Mei san wa here, I think, using like this tier, right? Because like A is like Japanese teacher tier, right? Like as in you should learn Japanese from like these people. And Mi Mei san wa, like using that logic, I think Mi Mei san's here, probably, maybe. PewDiePie, he's here. So A tier, teacher tier, B tier, how long have you been in Japan tier. C tier is like they just started learning. They still like are trying to figure out how it works. Victor, from Give Me a Break Man, right? I mean, I did a collab with him. So I've talked to him before, right? Victor, he's freaking fluent in Japanese, yeah, but I'm gonna put him here. Actually, not sure, yeah, but yeah. Probably here, yeah, probably. D tier has people in it, like, I mean, like all these people who just do stuff like this. Ki-chan speaks 13 languages. Ki-chan. B tier is like intermediate, kind of fluent. Yeah. Still has trouble. More like B is kind of like you can live in Japan without any problems, and you have like a lot of Japanese people. And I mean, you have like a lot of Japanese friends, and then like you are good at Japanese, right? But it's not that you can be a teacher kind of thing. So just look at this tier and it makes more sense probably. So A is like we are teachers level, like Doge, Matt versus Japan, him, Summer Sensei, K-san, like these they can be teachers basically, but they cannot be teachers, but like they are fluent. And C is like basically a beginner level, and D cringy. So put people who think Oriental Pearl's fluent in the D tier. I actually want to check like what channel that is. Japanese. But she speaks Japanese though. She sings in Japanese, huh? But I can get copyrighted for freaking, playing songs on my channels. I really cannot do that, no. Like Oriental. Let's see.
この場所は超安全。何重もの頑丈なセキュリティで守られているから。
He asked if we were brother and sister.
He's my brother.
There's really Japan is not.
Well, I love.
あ、本当ですか？私はアメリカから来ました。ないですか？行ってみたいですか？行ってみたいですけどね。スペインとか、ヨーロッパの方はね、はい、離婚した、結婚して、はい、それから主人が定年で辞めた時に旅行に行ったんです。あっちの辺を。イタリアとかね。あ、イタリアすごいですね。外国の方と話したことありますか？
Not C, not C, no, not C, not C, not A, B, yeah, probably.
ない、初めてですか？本当。
それこそ外国に行った時にね。話は。
Cause so she does like this one thing like Japanese people do. So yeah, it'd probably be considering like she knows some like things we do in Japan, like like right here.
それこそ外国に行った時にね。
Like is like something you'd never say if you were speaking English, by the way. But
話はしたでも
英語喋りますか？喋れないですか？
全然喋れないです。
Hello, goodbye それぐらいわかる。
B か
いいはずでしたね。
B かな。むずいなこれ。どうしよう。
外国語はいけませんね。
ああ、なるほどね。
Let me just change C tier. Let me just change C tier. C は日本語上手 tier? How about this? How about this? That makes more sense, right? And thank you, Miss Ma Mysterious 13. Apologies, so I spelled it wrong. Richard Doe TV. Thank you so much for the donation. We do say andなんていうかな, it's more like it sounded Japanese to me, but let's see. Wait.
教えてあげますよ。じゃあ英語の何を教えば
Using, yeah, so like let's say if we change the tier list only a little bit to this Nihongo Jozu tier, then yeah, she's gonna be here. Like, so how long have you been in Japan? Like when your Japanese is actually kind of good, so like you can be here, kind of thing. It makes more sense, right? But using that logic, Chris Brown is gonna be here actually. And maybe Connor too. Yeah, maybe like this. Yeah. Maybe. Because I'm pretty sure he gets that a lot of like from a lot of people. Yeah, so maybe this makes more sense, right? So there's no like such thing as like better in voice. It's more like what category you're in, and I think this makes more sense because the difference between like these two is like, you know, whether they get this question or not. Like, how long have you been in Japan? Or like, oh my god, your Japanese is good. Like, in what you get more. And I feel like she gets your Japanese is good more than like how long you've been in Japan. So, and let me just see this. Not Mime. Richardo TV. And see. Oh, so it's actually like educational.
おはよう。おはよう。なんで泣いてんの？店長に叱られました。はい？なんかめっちゃ固くしてきて、なんか怖いというか。そうですか。大丈夫？一応時間欲しいかな？傷つけたから。リチャード。さっきのこと謝りに来たんだ。最近ストレスがあって今日も結構忙しい。
ここ here. The reasoning is like, so I mean he still like probably gets like, oh, your Japanese is good, right? But I don't know. So let me explain.
忙しかったから全部。
ちょっとね、下ネタっぽく聞こえるのがいくつかある。
おはよう。おはよう。なんで泣いてんの？店長に叱られました。はい？なんかめっちゃ固くしてきて。
これめっちゃ固くしてきてっていうのは、so he said like めっちゃ固くしてきて right? Which is something we never say. If you say like めっちゃ固くしてきてって言うと、なんかhe made me hard. だから、I was like, wait, what? So, いや、だから、なんだろう、こっちでもいいかもしれん。どっちだろうな。そう、どうだろうな。 ちょっとめっちゃ硬くしてきてよ。そう、He made me hard だから、そう。そう。
怖いというか、そうです。大丈夫？一応時間欲しいかな？傷つけたから。リチャード。さっきのこと、謝りに来たんだ。最近ストレスがあって、今日も結構忙しかったから、全部リチャードに吐き出しちゃってさ。謝り。
けど、wait. 吐き出しちゃった。いやー、どうだろう。ちょっと待って、wait, this one's actually hard. Wait, wait, どっちだろう。難しい。Wait, this is actually hard. Wait. ちょっと日本人の人、すいません、どっちですかこれ。B と C どっちこれ。Which Japanese people help me? Is it he? Is he B or C? 日本人でクリス・ブロードよりうまい。それはある。いや、OK。ヒカリさん、so Hikari sounds like so savage, right? So Hikari sounds Japanese, and Hikari sounds like B because he's better than Chris Broad. I really don't want to say like Chris Broad's like Japanese is bad, but still, yeah. I mean, that actually is a great, yeah, scale. Like it's better than Chris Broad. I guess yes. Then. I'm really sorry, Chris Broad. I mean, I love your channel, but still. That's actually great. Yeah, that's actually great. Yeah, let's see. So, B tier is like better than Chris Broad. Yeah. I know it's kind of savage, but like that's actually, decent way to know like if somebody's like fluent. And Live and X, what about Axel Sirius? He's a new Ian host stars and he sounds native. Really? And thank you so much, Saka. How about Shu Yamin? I'll check it later, but let me just check this YouTuber. ユーリースさんはね、あの人うまいけど、あの人多分 C ティアですね。あの人は C。
再生数伸びてないな。気にしすぎ。
Yeah, I mean the title itself is like worthy Japanese. これは日本人だわ。
にしても少ないと思わない？
こんばんはです、皆さん。こうやって改めて日本語でなんだろう。
日本人だろ This guy's Japanese, dude!
話してちゃんと挨拶するの初めてなんじゃないか？
This guy's Japanese, dude!
ちゃんと日本語配信は初めてだね。
This guy's Japanese, dude! これは日本人だよ。I mean, it's not that he's learning Japanese in it, well, in it, like.
ということで始まりました。
He's Australian, no, he's Japanese, dude!
アクセルシリオスの日本語配信。今日さ。
No, he's Japanese, 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 he's Japanese. Like, whatever you say, he's Japanese, he's Japanese, he's Japanese, 100% he's Japanese. 誰だよVTuber だそうですね。He also has strong Australian accent speaking English, but he's Japanese, he sounds Japanese. Yeah, it's whatever, he's Japanese. ニックさんはね、めちゃくちゃうまい。ニックさんはここ。ニックさんはここ。ニックさんはここ。リアルにここ。ニックさんはここ。ニックはガチでうまい。ニックはマジでうまい。あの人は本当にここ。And, Shu Yamina from Nijisanji, sure. And thank you, Running Riot. What about King Cannon? He learned Japanese by watching One Piece. So, there are people who actually learn Japanese, like watching anime, huh? Okay. I'm curious now. Let me check that channel later, but like I want to see Shu Yamino. Japanese. Wait. Japanese. Oh, okay.
僕ペトラさんくらい吹いてないの？あ、それはもちろんそれくらいはしますよ。でも
Wait, what? Oh, okay. I thought he's the guy like who learned Japanese by watching anime, but no. I mean,
多分大丈夫です。あ、アイク君のあれはリコーダーじゃないんですよ。あれですね。ヒューって、なんて言うんでしょう。
いや、ちょっと日本人臭いこれ。日本人臭いこれ。
に、棒があって、それを伸び縮みさせて、なんか。
いや、日本人だろ、これ。伸び縮みって言わなくない？外国の人って。
ヒュンヒュンヒュン、スライドホイッスル。そうですね、それです。
He's Japanese, he's Japanese, he's Japanese, he's Japanese, he's Japanese, he's Japanese. VTuber なんかやらないだろ、外人。外人の人も結構やってますね。そう、スライドホイッスルって言い方がマジで日本人ですね。So like he said, like, slide hoisted, which means like slide whistle. Japanese people say like hoisted instead of like whistle, like whistle. He has like that Japanese-ness. So yeah, that's like very Japanese. 英語育ちのふりした日本人。いや、この人リアルな多分あれじゃないですか。なんだろう。海外育ちだけどってパターンな気がする。よくある。He's Japanese. He's Japanese. He's Japanese. Like I can tell. Like he's Japanese. So he's gonna be here. And thank you so much, Jepo. Petra Green from Niji and recently did an all Japanese stream with Oliver Events. Oliver-san, he's Japanese, right? But like, I don't know who this is. So let me just check the channel later. But, けど、先に, I'm really curious about this person, Ken Cannon, because I've been kind of making fun of the people like who just like learns Japanese only watching anime. So I'm just curious like how decent he sounds. And that's copyrighted stuff. Does he speak Japanese? Does he? You say Matt versus Japan only watched anime too, right? But he did a lot of things. It's not that he just like literally just like watched anime and he freaking just like tried to do sound anime character. No. Matt versus Japan did a lot of stuff and he in fact is a like smart guy. So
most interest. They're very interesting.
I don't think he speaks Japanese in his videos though.
皆さんこんにちは。早速なんですけど、なんと鬼滅の刃から選んでみました。しかももうちょっとお気づきですよね。今日は特別に国を超えているとかね、それ。
She's Japanese.
もこの
live there.
I don't know like if he speaks Japanese or not, because Ken Cannon Japanese. Like, speaking Japanese, huh?
ゴルフやるんだ。
先週先方の課長とコース回ったんですよ。
お、社長。Hi Tom, you wanna play some games tonight?
いや別にいいんだけどさ。何言えばいいの？今日やったこと？今日はね、起きた。そして撮影しました。これ見て。シャワーすら入ってねえや。キモいでしょ。
ちょっと待って、これどうしよう。これやり方日本人だわ。ちょっと待って、どうしよう。
殺していいよ。
それはすごい。いや、that's very American. That's very American. 殺していいよって日本人言わないからね。殺してくれだからね。
次の質問を読んだ方がいいかな。日本語で。次の質問は。
But like he sounds very Japanese though. Like that's crazy actually. So here. The thing about it is like he has the Japanese-ness. Like the way how he talks is like, yeah, right. So like all the Japanese people out there are saying like he sounds Japanese. But here's the thing. I can still feel some like foreignness from him. It's the way how he speaks Japanese, yeah. So he sounds very Japanese, but still like there's like this foreignness. Let me just watch him like a little bit more.
いや本当にアニメから学んだ。
Yeah. He sounds foreign. Yeah. So, but like this is like the highest you can go as a foreigner. He uses Americanisms. Yeah. So there are some things like you only say in some countries, and he still like says the same thing in Japanese, like such as like this one. What? So you can kill me is like what Americans say, right? Like, oh yeah, kill me kind of thing. Japanese people don't really say that. Instead, we say shinite, which is like I want to die. So it's like a cultural thing, right? But that doesn't mean your Japanese is bad or anything. It just means that it just means that you have a different cultural background. So basically, but the way how he sounds is like very Japanese. Like he sounds Japanese, but what he says is like very American. That doesn't make any sense. And yeah, if he actually learned Japanese by watching anime, this is crazy.
本当ですよ。It was very, very true. 特別ななんかね、何もしてないよ。It was just anime. Do you sound like a... You know, it's funny. 俺、そういう風に聞こえるか？どう思う？これアニメみたいに喋ってんのかな？多分そうだよね。
So like, this is crazy. Like he sounds so Japanese, but like he sounds Japanese, but what he's saying is like very American. Like, yeah, this freaking reminds me of like my friends actually. This is crazy. Like I know like a lot of friends like who freaking sound Japanese, but they say American things, or like they say foreign things, right?
多分それが問題だよね。そう。だから女の子が。いや、ほんと残念だよね。だってナルトってかっこいいじゃん。かっこいいってばよ。かっこいいってばよ。そうだってばよ。I wish I could sound like that.
Yeah, he sounds Japanese. He sounds Japanese. This is actually insane. He sounds so Yeah, he sounds Japanese. But he says American stuff. Like, so that's kind of why I have to put him here. But this is the highest you can go as a foreigner. Like, this is basically you grew up in Japan kind of thing. So, I mean, all the people here are like freaking Japanese. 訛りはある。なんか訛りっていうか言い方だと思うんですよね。俺変なとこあるか？このかってつけちゃうとことか、かって普通つけないから。So, and thank you, person 1860. Are you gonna buy a Steam Deck? I'm not gonna buy it because I don't really think it's worth it, honestly, in my honest opinion. But and Digipo, let me just see him. Petra Green. So Japanese stream. And thank you, Digipo. There's also this Brazilian polyglot taxi driver on Tokyo. Just search. Okay. Well, thank you so much for the donation, but let me just watch. Her or him? Her? Him? Her? Her? Him? This. Is it her or him? Her, okay.
では自己紹介していきましょうか。
Oh yeah, it's her. Yeah.
じゃあ今日は僕から。
OK。
2時3時所属。
いざとなったらなんか恥ずかしいなと思って。
あ、そうなの？やらせて言ったのそっちじゃん。なんで僕だけやらせてやりたくないっていうの？
2時3時イエン所属あ、2時3時イエン所属ペンギンのビタラクリンです。
はい、よろしくお願いいたします。
私の方が日本語上手かもしれません。
そんなことは
ちょっとこれ待って、どっちだ？おいこれどっちだ？これわかんないこれね A か B なんだよね。 It's either A or B. Let me watch you a little bit more, right? It's A or B. This is actually hard.
なくないかもしれない。
いや、それはない。それは
嘘。Because like, so the thing about it is like, so she's better than Kiryu Koko. She can be Keisan. It's like on par with Keisan, yeah. これどっちだろう？ちょっと待って。Yeah, you guys say A, right? Because I kind of think she's A as well. But
ひどいよ、ペテラさんやろう言うたのに、僕だけやらせて。
いや、いきなり恥ずかしくなって。
Keison and Coco are the same person, you say, but like, so when she was Kiryu Coco, like her Japanese wasn't that good, honestly. Like there were a lot of things like she said that didn't make any sense, but suddenly like she sounds insanely good when she's like Keison. So obviously like her Japanese like has improved like a lot, right? So that's kind of why I separated both of them. And at the same time, like there are reasons why I kind of have to do this because, you know, rules and matters and stuff. So that too. But either way, Kiryu Coco wasn't that good at Japanese, but now she's freaking, yeah, good. So.
だって
まあそういうこともあるかもしれませんね。
みんな先生の Valley Girl 聞きたいんだけど。
How do they speak?
Valley Girl? It's like when you like talk like this.
Oh yeah.
マジで私すいませんでした。
Is she Japanese or something? Like half Japanese or something?
今のは僕関係ない。今のは僕は関係ない。
マジで私。
これちょっと待ってこれ。Did she grow up in Japan or something? Or what is this? What is this? Wait, wait.
Oh.
Well, she didn't grow up in Japan, no.
Now what?
私の役目は終わっちゃった。
そう。
Ah, never mind. No, never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. She's here. She's here. She's here. Never mind. She's here. She is here. Petra Grin. Yeah. She's not here, but she's here. Because yeah, I just got some like foreignness from her. この今のはちょっと foreignness. Maybe, or maybe I'm just like overreacting or something. Maybe I'm stupid. And wait, let me just see this one. This person? This guy? You say please judge Ikena, but like I'm not gonna judge people though. I'm not gonna judge people. これはちょっとね、コピーライト臭い。ちょっとコピーライト臭い。けど見るしかねえか。避けたいんだよな、コピーライト。
そう、なんぼ。大阪へありがとう。
ちょっと避けたい。これ、This is copyright. I really want to avoid this. And thank you, Uriah, right? I give this Sora a crash in the plane out of 11. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you.
Olá pessoal, tudo bem? Amado, a gente recebe a nossa...
I really want to avoid that though.
Prazer, Júlio.
Idiomas com fluência tirou o Júlio do anonimato.
Eu às vezes fico estudando russo. Ah, veio uma arte to study like...
Ilha também.
De línguas. Ali, Nihon, ação de verbo, adjetivo, tem que seguir um livro completo, né? Eu recomendo o livro...
Enquanto oferece...
I know like I have to watch this, but let me just actually hide my screen. Then I can watch it. Yeah, this is like, yeah, copyrighted for sure. Like I cannot just watch it. Wait.
話題のタクシードライバーと근데 오사카에서 오기니 오르마에요는 일반은 감사합니다는 아리가또 오사카에서 오기니
일본宅ことにもでは現無形タクシー
すいませんありがとうございました何と意味ますかねと思って
外国人に
お願いします
の気づいて写したのようです
이번에 왔어요?
外国に花をさ
締めが難しいんですよ例えばイタチボリとか
Yeah, he's here, maybe. I don't know what his name is, so I'm gonna just like put him here as a like the taxi driver guy. But yeah, he's probably here. But that one's actually kind of hard because yeah. And thank you, Daki Fiemonda. I think Coco intentionally speaks Japanese weirdly because she plays a character. It would be different when she talks about something serious. So I mean, I kind of have watched her stuff on Nico Nico as well, and her Japanese wasn't that good back then either. She legitimately improved, by the way. So knowing that like she's been studying like Japanese and she's been like learning Japanese to sound great, I have to put case on here, but Kiryu Koko here, because I just know what it was like for her to learn Japanese, if that makes any sense. Do you guys get what I mean though? So, とある中国人のムイムイって人えぐいよ。とある中国人のムイムイ。
はい、皆さんこんにちは。職業中。
え Wait, she's Chinese? Sharla! Yeah, Sharla in Japan, actually.
皆さんこんにちは。職業中国人のムイムイです。はい、どうも。つが私がやります。で、よくその収録現場に行くと、やっぱそのプロの声優さんの収録を。
I know, she's not Chinese. I mean, I know she's not Japanese, but still. I mean, that's just so Japanese to me. いやー、これは日本人だろう。I mean, これは日本、いや、this is so Japanese.
聞いてきて、まあバカでもね、ちょっとこの人はうまいとか、この人
You know, like, so there are some like things like Japanese people do, right? So like, if you speak Japanese, so your like intonation, like, so this is like what people call like pitch accent, right? People in Japan do like this one thing, like where they crack their voice, like この人なんです like this.
まあバカでもね、
バカでもね that, which is like something people outside of Japan don't really do, but people in Japan do it freaking once every like 5 seconds.
この人
see that.
はうまいとか、この人
see that again.
とか、こう
すれば see that again.
もっと良くなるっていうのは、まあこの1、2年で、まあ多少は学習してきました。で、この間、すごく変わった。
Yeah, they basically falsetto that thing right there is like what Japanese people do. How, if she's been like in Japan for freaking 5 years, like how is it though? How is she so fluent though? No, I mean it doesn't mean like she's fluent in Japanese because like she speaks, you know, Chinese like with more complicated intonation. It's not that. It's a totally different like things like we have in Japanese. Like what I mean is like even if you're good at playing Fortnite, that doesn't mean you can be good at Tetris. Like it's just like literally that. So because I don't really think Chinese people do like which is like what we do in Japan. So
なんと、中国のクライアントさんから
this is basically here. Shu Yamino-san wa here. And Audiotopia, thank you. Rate Hana Matcha from Nijisanji. Kudasai. Okay. But I want to actually watch Sharla in Japan. Actually though, Sharla. That's 5 years ago though. Okay, so let's watch a Japanese person like watching Sharla in Japan and Chris Brown speaking Japanese, right? This stream is now called a Japanese person reacts to a Japanese person reacting to Chris Brown and Sharla in Japan.
Like when Chris speaks,
actually,
Japanese kind of funny sometimes.
After a few coffees.
負けるな。わ、生理痛が辛くて。そんな時はルナなのだ。でも眠くなったら困る。バファリンルナアイは痛みによく効くだけじゃない。眠くなる成分無配合。ピンポン。アプリが到着時間を予測。95% のオーダーを時間内に配達。Uber Eats。
Hey guys, welcome to something. Don't worry, we're dealing.
Speaking Japanese. Are there like any videos like where she speaks Japanese? I mean, I know what she sounds like, but I guess like we can just watch this. But this is like 5 years ago, right? And I'm pretty sure like she sounds different now. You cannot talk about ad block. It's technically not like something you should even talk about. Like it's not really something. It's basically saying like, why don't you just download this game for free? It's basically you were saying that, so don't even. Yeah, it's in a gray zone just in case. Yes, it's not a. Yeah. So. Well, why do you think YouTube like has this one thing called a YouTube Premium? And thank you, Christian. What about Masahiro Sakura? I mean, I don't know who that is, but like by just like seeing the name, by just seeing the name, like he's gonna be here, right? So, but thank you so much for the donation. Let me just watch this now.
なんずぎなっていうんですよね。ちょっとなまって。書くのにはなずき。お顔。
じゃあ膝は全く言わないんですか?
But this is like 5 years ago, right? So 5 years ago, yeah, she would probably be here. But I know she sounds different though.
若い人今これはね、そうですね。じゃあ今度はね、体のずーっと下の方に膝よりまたずーっと。
Yeah, I mean, so like Charlotte in Japan 5 years ago, she probably would be here, but I don't know what she sounds like now. Oh, 3 years ago.
わんこそばいらない。できるのここで。いいじゃないこれ。わんこそばいくら？3000円。安い。
Actually, so this is like her 3 years ago, right? Yeah, this is her 3 years ago, so I don't know what she sounds like now. So this is what I have to say about her. Charlotte in Japan is probably better now. So, and thank you, Ivan Rolands. Evgeny Uskov. He's the only foreigner to pass both the Nihongo Kente EQ and Kanken EQ. I'm not sure about his speaking ability, but I thought it would be worth mentioning him if you're doing a tier list. Huh. And thank you so much for the donation, Neswit. Give me a little bit. I want to check something. And Hanamachi. Yeah, I have to check this VTuber too. Actually. Let me just check this VTuber first. Hanamachi-ya? Hanamachi-ya-san? Does she speak Japanese, though?
Japanese marshmallow.
Let me just, hide the tier list.
I like. 別に同じんだもん。
別に同じんだもん。
別に同じんだもん。 That water 東京は覚える東京は覚えてる東京に住んでいます東京は覚えてる
これは B かな Yeah, she's probably here. It was kind of easy, yeah. Sounds kawaii. Yeah, she sounds cute. Yeah, she sounds cute. Actually, C もありえるな。C もあるな。ちょっと待って。She can be C too. Let's see, wait.
東京は覚えるデスクスって
東京は覚えるってだったら How long have you been in Japan って言わないよな、多分。
これ
机
机がめっのついはいこの感じ
あり
でも確かこれ6の漢字だからこれかな
6つ
ああでも How long have you been in Japan って言うかも
確かこれ6の漢字でしょこれ8、5、7
So here, the Chris Broad scale, right? It's cheaper than Chris Broad. I really like the thing about it is like I really don't want to say this, but it's actually a great scale, right? So there's no such thing as like better and worse, but yeah, maybe she can be here, I guess. Yeah, maybe she can be here. But I don't really think she can be this, like, compares to like other people, because like these people are like legitimately like they are linguists, kinda. I'm not sure about Kei-san because like she's half Japanese, right? But she can't not really be here in my honest opinion, because yeah. But yeah, she's here, I think. And Evgeny Uskov. He passed Kanken EQ. Kanken EQ is something like even Japanese people cannot pass, though. So. Oh, damn.
皆さんこんにちは。皆さんこんにちは。ウスコフ・エフゲニです。ロシア出身で日本
I mean, I instantly figured out like what tier he's gonna be in.
に住んでいます。母語はロシア語です。
Yeah. He sounds Russian. He sounds Russian. Yeah.
日本語は外国語として勉強しました。
Yeah. Okay. So here. He's gonna be here. He sounds fluent. Yeah, he sounds fluent. Is he Japanese? No, I can tell. Like we can tell he's not Japanese. Like that's basically the difference between the people, like, you know, who are in here and here. So, ニック・アレックスのニックはうまいのでここ。でもあの人日本人じゃないってわかるんでやっぱり。あの人はここ。ニックは。そう。でもちょっとなまってない。まあなまってるのはいいんすけど、so like he has an accent like you say, right? But like yeah, so he can be here. Like Japanese tier level. Like compared to like other these people, yeah, maybe here. So, because this is basically like, oh, I speak I speak Japanese proper fluently. 多分それ別のニックだと思います。あれですね。だからニックさんってよくなんだっけ、厚英語さんとコラボしてる彼ですよね。アメリカのカリフォルニアにいた人で、もう日本に十何年間いる人だったらこの人、ニックさんです。それだったらこうですよ。まあニックで日本語喋るのってあの人しかいないからな、リアルに多分。Why are you talking about Joey Inoue? Joey Inoue is like, I mean, he is like literally, he is like straight up Japanese though. Like, what are you talking about, dude? He is like, why are you guys like freaking talking about like some actual Japanese people here? Like freaking like Masahiro Sakurai-san to ka. I mean, he's like legitimately Japanese though. Like, what the? Joey Inoue wa, like, you guys have to know like who Japanese is and who is not Japanese. Like, first of all, like he's like straight up Japanese dude. Like, why are you even like mentioning him? Like Sakurai was like, I mean, some actual why are like some actual like Japanese people here? Like, what the like You shouldn't even mention like those people because like they are way too Japanese. Like they are just Japanese like 100%. Like I mean it's just that obvious. So I mean but still. And Anya Melfis, I will check it later, but I want to watch this one. What is this? This stream is now called a Japanese person reacts to a Japanese person reacting to Chris Brown in Charlie in Japan. I think I actually did a stream like that, yeah. 各社リンっていう人日本語うまいです。マジ？各社リン。Wait. 各社リン is good at Japanese? Really? 日本人が増えてく。I mean, I'm just freaking writing like Japanese names here. Like, that's just not the point. Like, this stream freaking became like a, you know, let's write Japanese names here stream. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Let's collect the Japanese names. Okay, and what was his name again? Her. Anya Melfissa. Sonny Briscoe. I know about him, yeah, but I kind of want to see him too. Ooh! That looks promising! 日本人のハードル上げるっていうのはどうかな。でも日本人は日本人でも一括りですからね。日本人以上とか以下とかないのでやっぱり。だって日本語を学ぶって言ったら日本人から学びたいじゃないですか。でもそういう基準でそこで終わり。
今年の富士急誰と
その日本人の中でティアリストを作ってしまったらもうそれは日本語検定では日本語レベルではなくてもそれはもうなんかね誰が森鴎外になるかのレベルになっちゃうんでちょっとそれをやっちゃうと厳しくなっちゃうんです。
もしもし聞こえる？ BGM 大丈夫？私の声も大丈夫？ホロライブ ID2 期生のアーニャメルフィッサです。よろしくお願いします。日本語、俺より日本語うまいわ。いや、そんな。
Okay. 道元よりボキャブラリーない日本人いっぱいいます。めちゃくちゃいますよ。あの人のボキャブラリー半端ないっすよ、マジで。I figured out, yeah, which tier she's in, yeah.
そんな期待しすぎますよ、皆さんは。いや、そんな期待しすぎますよ、皆さんは。
期待しすぎますよってあれだよね、日本人に言わないですよね。期待しすぎですよじゃないかな、多分。期待しすぎですよ、期待しないでくださいってやつ。多分、そこが引っかかる。
そう、日本語の件なんだけど、私、デビュー配信の後ね、ちょっとだけエゴさして、で、
これちょっと sounds Japanese よ、she sounds Japanese。ちょっと待って。She sounds way too Japanese! ちょっと待ってこれちょっと She sounds Japanese though!
なんか、このアニメルフィッサってこう、
But she's not S tier, no. We can tell like, she's not Japanese, so.
言葉遣いが現代オタクだなってみんな
これでもオタクだながあれですね、海外の人っぽい
言ってるの何？そんなことない。
そう、いや、she does this. Yes. そんなこと Like the Japanese thing. そんなこと The Japaneseness. That's some Japaneseness right there. No foreigners do this ever, from my experience. No foreigners speaking Japanese do this ever. Like, seriously, I have a lot of like foreign friends in Japan. Nobody does this. Like, そんなこと That's very Japanese.
そんなこと
Yeah, that. そんなこと普通ここまで日本人っぽく喋るね。そう。それなんですよ。そんなこと Because like a lot of people who learn Japanese would sound like そんなこといや、だ。
そんなことないと思う。
そんなことでも、but like, yeah, we can tell like she's not Japanese.
けど、そんなにどこで
そんなにいや、だ。
勉強したのか
It's not like over exaggerated. Like, we actually do this.
どこで勉強したんだろう
It's not like about pitch. It's more like we use like this falsetto in Japanese. I don't know why we do it. We just do it. I do it too sometimes. I try to avoid it because like I got some like non-Japaneseness as well, like in me, and I know like it sounds cringy. So like if I don't have like my non-Japaneseness in me, like I would just actually go like そんなこと myself. But like my non-Japaneseness tells me that it's cringy, so I just don't do that. But like that's what Japanese people do.
まあ結構さ
結構さやだ。結構さ。
なんかゲームとかで。
ゲームとかやだ。See?
作品とかで。
Okay, yeah, that's A. That's A. That's A. Yeah, that's A. That's A. So this is basically like, yeah, they are Japanese, right? This is like, I don't know if she can teach Japanese one, but yeah, まあA かな。モンドは B。モンドは B。けどね、あの人どうだろう。モンドはね、ちょっと、いや、モンドは B。モンドは 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 B。So, like this, you know, the sexy voice in the States, for example, like, you know how girls speak like, oh yeah, do you wanna come to my place? You know, like, that lower pitched voice is like considered like sexy in the States. Not even like in the States, like in a lot of countries, like this breathy, low pitched voice, right? But Japanese people think like, it's cute and beautiful and hot. So that's kind of why probably people in Japan do like this. そんなこと But like guys do it too though. I sometimes like I'm Japanese myself too, right? So like I sometimes like tend to do it, but my non-Japaneseness tells me it's cringy. So I just want to avoid it as much as possible. So like I try not to do it though. But my non-Japaneseness just keeps telling me like, dude, you are being cringy. Stop it. And again, I really have to tell you, Elijah Lyons, get an ad blocker. You shouldn't really talk about it like publicly like this. Why do you think there's like this one thing called YouTube Premium? So getting an ad blocker is basically saying like, hey, why don't you download this game for free? So again, it's something. I know people do that. I mean, you can do it, whatever. I mean, it's just fine. I'm fine with like people doing whatever, but it's something you shouldn't really talk about out loud, saying like, why don't you get an ad blocker? I mean, it's kind of like in the gray zone. Why do people, yeah, you know, so, yeah, so that, yeah, that's just one thing. And a Sony Briscoe, yeah. Sora will get in trouble with YouTube if he talks about ad blockers. It's not that. It's basically like, so you are basically doing something YouTube doesn't officially support, right? That itself is something against their like rules, by the way. If I just tell people to get an ad blocker because this is free and don't get YouTube Premium and then whatever, that itself is like, yeah, against the rules. He's a YouTuber, he won't do it. It's not that like I won't do it. It just I cannot like tell people to use it or anything. Like Google it yourself. It's actually like against the rules and it's kind of just obvious. Seriously, Google it. There's like this freaking community guideline thing. Like, yeah, you really have to, you know, read that. So, you don't get it. So again, like, so let's say there's like this one game called Monster Hunter, right? And you can play the demo version and on Steam, right? So you play it and you want to play the whole game. So you were like looking at the thing on Steam and you figure out that it's like $70. So you want to somehow get it. And people are telling you to just download it for free because like there are like torrents and whatever, right? But that's not what you do. Maybe you can do that. Like if you want to do that, then just like, yeah, do it. But you really cannot tell people to just like download and whatever because like it's sort of like illegal. Adblock isn't that illegal actually, like obviously. But Yeah, it's not illegal, but it's against their like guidelines. YouTube, like on YouTube. So I really cannot tell people to just like, oh, get it, so you don't have to get YouTube Premium. That's different, I know, but it's basically on the same like, scale as that. So, but yeah, and thank you so much for the donation, Froggy-chan. Thank you so much for that. So, against their terms of service, basically it's something they don't allow publicly. So, that. But yeah, again, like, if you want to use it, then that's just whatever. Like, nobody's gonna arrest you or anything. But I really cannot just tell people to just get an ad blocker and be like, this is OPM. You know what I mean, though? Speaking Japanese. Free Japanese audio lessons. Can I watch this before anything?
Here are some ordinary card over if the answer. Finally, struggling like struggle complete.
ニキビ跡ケアジェル。ニキビができた後に目立って気になるあの存在。そうなる前に。
You gotta say 手を挙げろ、メス豚。
What? Petition to put me in the cringe tier. Thank you so much, Live and X. But you are not a YouTuber, so I cannot do that. But thank you so much for the donation. Thank you. Let me check it later.
What does mesu buta means my girl.
It means my girl.
My girl.
Means sweet girl. Yes.
Yeah.
Sweet girl. Yeah. So
My girl.
Sort of level trolling. Yeah, sounds like my level trolling. Yeah.
If there's any girls that you like, you have to call Miss Buta.
俺のメス豚。Yeah.
Don't do that, everybody. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Did you guys know that Yugo taught me kanji?
It's like same as saying like "you're my bitch" in Japanese.
Yugo said psycho.
It's not even like "you're my bitch." Like, なんだろう、メス豚。You're my. It's not even like "you're my bitch." It's more like "you're my whore." Yeah, you're my whore. You're my slut, like kind of thing. It's actually so bad, so don't even do that. It's actually so bad. So.
Yeah, psycho means sus, everyone. Yeah. Be careful.
What was the one you said at the beginning of this stream? It was something really offensive in Japanese, and you told us it meant like friend.
Oh, mesubuta.
Oh, mesubuta. Yeah, it means lovely girls, you know.
Means
girl, my girls. It means my girls, you know.
You have a crush on someone.
Mesubuta.
So you ask them out.
You really got to get us like just destroyed on Twitter. You got.
Japanese, you could possibly know. You'll be using this as soon as you get off the plane. Please remember this.
You gotta say.
He sounds fluent too. Yeah. And thank you, Chani Bethy Poo Poo. Virgin Senpai is also cringed here. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you. Wait, but I really don't know. Wait.
This is easy stuff. Hey.
Does he speak Japanese? Oh, he does. Wait.
がなんだろうギャルを活動してるアニメでした。
Yeah, people wouldn't ask him like how long he's been in Japan. But people would just ask him like, "Oh, your Japanese is good." But let me just watch him a little bit more.
なんて言ったらいいんだろう。説明できない。うん。はい。そんな感じです。よかったら。
ああ、いやどっちだろ
う。ギャル王宣言を検索してください。面白いから。俺のお気に入りだから。ちょっと。
待って So like, this is like where the Chris Broad scale is gonna work well, right? Yeah, B, yeah, probably better than, yeah, Chris Broad. Like, I really don't wanna say like, better than Chris Broad. But like, that scale like somebody brought up like a while ago actually works. Like, better than like this Nihongo Jozu scale. Like, I kind of want to rename it as like a Chris Broad scale, but that's kind of mean, so I'm not gonna really do that. And you say like 文法が悪いから C, grammar, like his grammar isn't that good, so C, right? But like that doesn't really mean anything though, right? Because like when it's like in a conversation, like small grammatical mistakes aren't that crucial because it's more about the flow itself, right?
やべえな、もう10年も経ってんか。すごい。うん。はい。A 支部のアニメーションすごく、新鮮っていうか、新鮮なのかな。
新鮮って言葉を使ってるあたりここに置きたいかな。B? Yeah, probably B? B? C? Yeah, B. なんだっけ、兄は上の人だ。だからソニー・ブリスコ、yeah. B, yeah, B, B. C はないかもね、そう。Because Chris brought a scale, right? I mean, I really don't want to say that, but like, that scale like somebody brought up like, 20 minutes ago actually kind of, works better for me. So, yeah, that. And, let me just watch this one. What is this? I mean, alright. So maybe I have to say this. Like, why do you bring up some like actual Japanese people? Alright then. I mean, if you bring up some Japanese people, like what the. Like, why would you bring up, like, some actual Japanese people? Dude! Like, I don't want to just collect the Japanese people's names here. Like, why is Rin-san even here? So... He's Japanese, dude! I mean, he's Japanese, dude. Why do you even, like, freaking, like... So, yeah. But... Anyways, so I mean, it's kind of interesting how you say like, oh, he sounds British when speaking English, but still, I mean, he is like obviously Japanese. So I mean, native Japanese doesn't mean perfect Japanese. I don't know what you mean by that. But here again, God tier, either Japanese or raised in Japan or half Japanese. So. Because the definition here is like, so Japanese is a language spoken by Japanese people, right? So I mean, like, please. Alright, let's go.
ここは頑丈なセキュリティで守られていて安全。
ああ、スティーブってこの人知ってる。
しかも一番
この人多分ね、B か A どっちだろう。
この人
A 臭いんだよな。この人知ってる。Yeah, I know about this guy, yeah. 池名はここ。Maybe? Yeah, Ikena's here. I mean, he speaks like a lot of languages, like decently. So, but I don't think people would actually ask him like, hey, how long have you been in Japan? So, cause there's like way too much like foreignness in his Japanese. So yeah, Ikena's here. スティーブさん、そう、スティーブさん有名ですよね。なんかこの人すごい知ってる。
はいはいどうぞ。はいありますよあります。すぐお届けできますよ。はい。
これはね。
申し訳ないです。ありがとうございます。いつもお世話になっております。
これはね。
あ以上でしょうか。かしこまりました。失礼します。
これはね。
はい。
ツッコミどころが高いなこれは。ちょっと待って。
はい。
スティーブさんは知ってるからな。Yeah, we can just like skip the English part.
Hold on, John. All right. Hey, the rest of the order.
他のも見たいな。あんま見たことないんですよね。スティーブさん。そうそう、日本人レベル、この人めちゃくちゃうまいんですよ、日本語。
おはようございます。行ってきてのスティーブです。これからナンブリギニで40分ぐらいの道なんですよね、今日の朝のイベントまで。いつもまあこの時間は一人で乗ることが多いから考える時間、になりますよね、いろいろ人生。
これどっちだろうな。 He can be a teacher. He can be a teacher. He can be a teacher, yeah.
まあ自分のこと、世界のこと、アメリカのこと、日本のこと、いろいろ考えちゃうんだよね。
これは、いや、日本先生になれるな。まあ、声はちょっと、いや、声はね、しょうがない。声は変な人、日本人にもいるから、それしょうがない。
昔、
それは、だから結局、日本人と外国人の違いってところで、まあ、ガードティーを作った理由。あそこはもう日本人やんってとこなんで。
自分にとって、日本で覚えた四字熟語。好きな四字熟語。
あ、はい、日本人、はい、ATR です。四字熟語とか言い出したんで。四字熟語って言い出したんで。いや、はい、そう、Steve here. Alright, so the reason why we have to like put him here is because like he freaking just started mentioning like yoji jukugo. That's one thing like, you know, like freaking teachers just mentioned, and no like normal, as in like no generic non-Japanese people would even talk about yoji jukugo. Like you have to be actually in like linguistics and stuff. Like, yeah, yoji jukugo is basically like, I thought it, thank you. Yeah, hey, yeah. He can be a teacher. Just learn Japanese from him. And thank you so much, Emma Aisha Mori Calliope. Yeah, I'll check her later, but ノリ野郎って名前が日本人やんけ。名前が日本人やんけ。How about Samurai Cop? He's fluent in Japanese. D fluent, thank you. Let me just check them later. あ、日本人じゃない。
Today, something a little bit different.
Does he even speak Japanese, though? Does he speak Japanese in his videos or? あ、目をつむって聞いて外国人だとわからないレベルだったら大体ゴッドティアです。ここはもう他の人たちがガチの言語学者なんで、そこはもうくくり。ここはもう言語学者レベル。なんか日本語を言語が好きだからって理由で学んでる人たちがここに来るイメージ。目をつぶって日本人で分かるのもここ。あ、こいつ日本人やってなったらここ。けど言語学的な問題で好きなのかなってのはここ。そういう違いでございます。
Well, it all started back here at the Shino Kojima first.
Oh. Does he speak Japanese though? Like in his videos or? Does he? No. Okay, then yeah, I really cannot. Yeah, see that. So, yeah. Mori Calliope. I know about her. I've never really seen her speak Japanese, but Japanese only challenge.
また。
頭がちょっとふわふわしてるからね。
But let me actually watch her a little bit more.
はい、そんな感じ。
いや、これは日本語上手ティアだな。多分。
むずい。むずい。
Yeah. She's here. She's here. This is basically like, oh, how long have you been in Japan? Tier, right? I don't think she gets that question from like people. So this is like whether you get like, you know, people asking them how long you've been in Japan. I don't think she gets that question. Like people would still like tell her, oh, your Japanese is good, which is like what she's getting on her stream. But I don't think people get, you know, I mean, she gets people like asking her how like long she's been in Japan. So
頑張ってるけどね。もっと詳しく話したいけど。知ってる言葉。
そう、そもそもみんな日本語上手すぎ問題。Yeah, like Ozu-san, so like he's Japanese, right? And he's like, so in the first place, everybody is so good at Japanese. Like that's just what I've been kind of thinking about. So there's like this tier list, but all the people who are here are good at, like they're Japanese good, like in the first place. I mean, that's kind of why C tier is like already like, oh my god, your Japanese is good. Like that's the first tier to even like begin with. D tier is like freaking just the people like who actually say some cringy stuff. Like they don't even like learn Japanese. Like Flashcard. Or like this freaking cringy guy who just like does cringy stuff on YouTube, and he should actually get cancelled. Like, so this Reddit troll guy though, so yeah, there's like this actual cringy channel where like nothing is even hilarious, and he freaking does cringy things, and he thinks it's funny doing that. Like his channel got recommended to me right recently. I watched his channel, and like the channel was freaking full of like cringe. Let me show it to you. Like it was actually cringy. Like look at the thumbnails. Like what's wrong with them? Like his eyes freaking look weird too in this one. So それだとロール好きそうな見た目してますね。それやったな前。覚えてるそれ。So yeah, that's kind of why he's here. And those people who actually say senpai kakoi, but those people don't even like learn Japanese. They're just like cringe. And so like they are really good at Japanese to even like start with. So yeah. And Samurai Cop. ロシア人 YouTuber うまいってか、あの人たちは多分日本語多分似てるんでしょうね、リアルに。だって日本人になるロシア人とかいるじゃないですか、YouTube 見てると。誰か忘れちゃったけど、日本人になりましたみたいな人たちとか。Samurai Cop. Is it from a movie though? Let me hide it, because I can get copyrighted from this.
He speaks fluent Japanese.
Fujiyama.
What does katana?
Are you Fujiyama?
Katana mean?
It means Japanese sword.
I don't know if that was a serious one or not, but I feel like that was a troll, so yeah, yeah. I actually know about him too. He's like Swedish, right? Let me watch him too. I'm curious. And thank you 5150 Hold. How about a stream where you judge how good a Japanese person English is in the future? I mean, a Japanese guy seeing like whose English is great like in Japan, isn't that like already like way too sort of troll? Like, you know what I mean? Like I just think it's just like way too sort of troll to even like begin with. So so I speak Japanese, like in a heavy Japanese accent, right? And I just watch Japanese YouTubers and go like, This Japanese guy is so good at English, but he says us wrong way. Like, yeah, I mean, this.
It's languages are something that it's very interesting to me. I mean, I'm pretty rubbish at it. もうちょっと話せますよ。あんまり高くないけど to try my hand at Japanese sometimes. 能力はあんまり高くないけど、日本語もちょっと話せますよ。実は高校の頃に日本語の講座参加しましたけど、残念ですが卒業の後で勉強続けなかったので。
ああ、日本語上手だな。日本語上手。いや。
日本語の能力はだんだん下手になりました。
いや、日本語上手。日本語上手。日本語上手。Yeah, his Japanese is good. Yeah, his Japanese is good. I don't think people would ask him if, like, he's been in Japan for that long. I mean, he sounds a bit so like Chris scale. That makes actually no sense. Like, people would actually ask them like how long they've been in Japan. Like, that's basically the scale here. Like, oh, how long have you been in Japan? Like, that's the question you get if your Japanese is actually good. And I don't think he would ever get that. Probably people would tell him like, oh, your Japanese is good. You sound fluent, but that's it. That doesn't mean he gets a question like, hey, how long have you been in Japan? Like, why you decided to move to Japan? Like, you never get, you know, questions like that. I'm assuming. He might, but this is just like, you know, my opinion basically. So, and these people legitimately get questions like those for sure. And these are linguists, or they can just teach Japanese. Laoshu Shaoma. Isn't he the guy like who lives in New York but speaks Chinese fluently or something? Right? Yeah, I think I know about him. Does he speak Japanese though? Does he speak Japanese?
Saikon game. 説得。
サイコンゲームって何？
グレイマン。これもネットフリックス。
サイコンゲームっていうショーがあるんだ今。
夏のお出かけはレイクタウンへ。夏休み限定イベントが目白押し。夏のアプリくじも。
Hello. ちょっと聞きたいんですけど、その一番。
マットはうまい。I mean, Matt versus Matt. I mean, again, so like he already. Yeah, Matt. Yeah, I mean, Matt はずるい。マットはダメ。ずるい。いや、マットはもう、yeah. I mean, yeah, right. マットはここだよ。ちょっと I want to see like Shao Man speaking Japanese. マットはずるい。ちょっとマットはダメ。Yeah, this is like Matt speaking Japanese.
3番の違いって。
はい、1番と3番ね。お、すごい。
いや、そうだから、マットはずるいよ。マットはずるいよ。Why is there like Matt versus Japan in this video? I mean, that's just not fair. That's not fair though. I mean, that's just not fair, yeah.
So my friend Matt.
Thank you so much for the donation です。UR。日本人は UR じゃなくて UR だな。ベルじゃなくてベリーだな。クリンジー&ロック。それルックlike you eat チーズ牛丼。Go outside and touch grass you gay alpaca weave. Yeah, the wrist part was amazing. But thank you so much for the donation です。Thank you. Thank you so much. And D Fluent for the path request. Mr. Nippon Nihongo Gaijin Quest. Thank you so much for the donation. Let me just watch this one, but that's Matt versus Japan. His Japanese is like legitimately good to the point like where I mean he's a linguist. I mean
Matt is one of the best non-native speakers is at fluency or with a video the included case can be very
反対だったらもっとでも。今もっと向こうの方が美味しいかな。すごい。
ちょっと勉強してまして。ああ、ちょっと日本語教えて。日本語教えてるじゃない。いやいやもう。本当に発音がすごい。
See? If your Japanese is good, this is what you get. Oh, you have Japanese? Yeah, instead of like 日本語上手ですね。See? You saw that, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
ほら。See? Are you Japanese? Like that's what you get. It's not like, oh, your Japanese is good, but people actually tell you like, wait, are you half Japanese? Are you Japanese? Like that's when you know like your Japanese is good. See? 日本人なんですか? But still, like we can know. I mean, we know like I mean, there's like some foreignness from Matt versus Japan, so I decided to put him here. But still, Sora san 日本語上手ですね. Sora, your Japanese is good. Yeah, I've been watching like a lot of anime recently. So. シャオマンが話してるの見たい. I want to see Showman speaking Japanese. But he's not speaking Japanese though in his videos, so I mean. Once an old lady asked me if I was half. Bless her soul. Nobody's asked me since.
Hello.
I'm learning. He speaks good Japanese.
I cannot find Showman speaking Japanese, so let's just like forget that. But I feel like he's gonna be here, Showman probably. But we haven't seen him like speak Japanese, so. But I mean, Matt versus Japan's like here, obviously. I mean, he's a linguist, so. Search it. I mean, I already did search it. Like it's Shaoma speaking Japanese, but yeah, so that. And thank you so much for the donation. Instiable Hunger. Did you watch One Piece film Red? I know it's a thing in Japan now, like it's getting advertised everywhere, but I haven't seen it and I'm not gonna watch it because I don't really watch anime actually. And I don't really watch One Piece either, so like I don't know anything about One Piece actually. So, but thank you so much for the donation. Mr. Nippon Nihongo Gaijin Quest. Is it what it's called or? Oh, him? Mr. Nippon? Where is it?
Habt ihr schon mal gewohnt auf die Getränke und was? Und
うちはレディー・ガガ。
はいは
言える？
イタポチャピパオ。その名前はどうやって考えましたか？
うちはレディー・ガガのガガ。レディー・ガガ。そう、なんかね、派手好きになったきっかけみたいな。
いや、もうまだ C って言っちゃった。まだ最初のは今のはわかる。そのって言ったからでしょ。わかるけど、ちょっと待って。あれ今の別によくそう外人の人がやるんだよね。そのなんとかってやるけどちょっと待って。これまだある。
Also auch die Musiker, die machen das.
めっちゃ頭に思う。
Zum Beispiel Lady Gaga.
いきなり頭に思う。
どんな人来ますか？
ほらね、わかるでしょ。
大体どんな人来ますか？お客さんに。
けどちょっと日本語上手だなこれどうしよう。日本語上手っぽいなこれ。C っぽい気がする。
Trinken etwas zum Snacken.
And when you're running riot, Shaoma-san は日本語喋らへん。That's what I thought. Yeah, he freaking speaks Chinese, right? So.
Dazu ist oder auch was richtig schöne bekommen hat.
I mean, accent isn't really that important though. I mean, everybody's got an accent. I mean, it's not that bad to sound foreign, but ちょっともうちょっと待って。Wait a bit more. There's something about like how he speaks Japanese.
でもうまい。思ったよりうまい。
思っちゃうよりうまい。思っちゃうよりうまいか。
形のもの。ノルマルのイカとかっていうかその
ドイツは
ノルマル形のもの。
シーフードは少ないですね。あんまり食べない。
そうなんだ。
Yeah, how long have you been in Japan? Yeah, he probably gets the question like, how long have you been in Japan? But
eine Sache, die mir hier auf jeden Fall auffällt, also hier so ein cool, ich von とかギャルといえば何が特徴だと思いますか？性格とかギャルっぽいこと。
いや、これ B だな。Yeah, he's here. Yeah, he's here. So I'm pretty sure like he gets questions like, hey, how long have you been in Japan? Like, did you go to school in Japan? Yeah, he probably gets questions like those. Yeah, I'm guessing. このギャルは D かなそれはダメ。それはダメ。外人クエストってなんだ？外人クエストって何？It's a channel.
座っておしっこしてるのに匂いが残っちゃって。
原因は壁にくっついた匂いが戻ってくるから。だからファブリーズ消臭プラス防臭コートで匂いを壁にくっつけない。トイレのファブリーズ。断然お得。スーパーセール開催中。BMM ブックス。
Every Japanese learner.
I want to see him speak Japanese though. Fabrizio はね、そう。in Japanese.
今日は日本語の動画作りたいと思った。なんでっていうのは、まあ気分でそう決めた。僕が日本が好き、大好き。みんな知ってると思う。でも
そうがとはって難しいよね。僕が日本が好きって言わないからね。これ難しいよね。いや、僕がって言わないから。
なんで好きなの？なんかこれについて話したい。普通の多分日本語を使ってる YouTuber は丁寧に話してるんだけど、私はちょっとなんか苦手だから。
B だな。B だな。いや B。B. Because people, I can still like imagine him getting questions like, hey, how long have you been in Japan? Yeah, probably. But yeah, his Japanese is good. Like, so he probably gets this as well, but he probably gets this more. How long have you been in Japan?
カジュアルの日本語でいきます。何か日本語の間違いとかあったら、ぜひコメントに言ってもいいですよ。全然怒らないし、普通になんかすごい勉強になると思う。だからぜひ何かあったら言ってください。まだ聞いてない人に日本語。
そうだね。僕は日本語は好き。いや、彼が言ったのは僕が日本語は好きって言ってるんですよね。僕が日本語は好きだったね。僕が日本は好きだったかな。ちょっとあれ。クリス・ブロードスケールはね、ちょっと本人には申し訳ないけど、すごい確かに分かりやすいというか、彼はなんていうか、ザ・外人・オブ・ジャパンって感じだから、すごいいいスケールだと思うんです。
日本語の練習欲しかったら、下のディスクリプション、なんていうのかな、ディスクリプションに、ディスコードサーバーのリンクが。
B。すごい、でも、流暢だと思う、かなり。And Christian, thank you for me and the other person in chat who's asking. Please check Ruri Ohama's Japanese. She has a video speaking I mean, can I just put her here already? But let's just watch her. I mean, and thank you. Did you check Paula yet? Not yet. But thank you so much for the donation.
日本語で Vlog を撮ることに決定しました。決定しましたっていう自分で決めたんだけど。で、今日一日中日本語で Vlog して、で、これから。
日本人じゃん。日本人じゃん。だから、日本人でしょ。
お母さんとお父さんとイスタンブールの寿司漫画っていうレストラン
She's half Japanese って言うけど日本人じゃん日本人じゃんだから日本人じゃん ハーフ日本人でもハーフ日本人じゃん。日本人じゃん。日本人でしょ。もうなんでよ。もう名前から日本人だと思ってたけど、もうなんか日本人じゃん。日本人でしょ。ジャパニーズ。これはジャパニーズ。Very Japanese. And thank you, Levan X. How about Hako's Bells? She's on the left. Yeah, we'll check her later. But I mean, 日本人だよ。彼女は日本人だよ。
あるんだけど、そこでラーメンと寿司が食べられるらしいから、今日はそこに行きます。
寿司ってあれだよね。関西の人寿司って人いるんですよね。こっちだと寿司って言うけど、寿司って人いるっすよね。リンさんとかどんな感じだったっけな。寿司って聞いたことあるの？
これからお風呂入ったりとかスキンケアしたりとか、あと自分のメイクとかして支度をしていきたいと思います。
支度をするって言わないよね、海外の人。関西ではない。そう、支度をする something like non-Japanese people like never say, by the way. Non-Japanese people say 準備をする、right? 支度をする because I get prepared and if you see これは actually educational。そう、支度をするって言葉はね、言わないんだよみんな。いや、nobody says that。支度をする。絶対言わない。ほら、ね、準備します。
準備します。
準備します。So like 準備します is like I get prepared, right? But Japanese people actually say like 支度するって言うんだよね。いや、支度する。That's very Japanese. And you cannot know this term?本当そう。マジで外国の人と話してれば支度するって言葉聞かないです。マジで聞かない。みんな準備するって言うんですよ。Because they usually, you know, like, think, like, oh, I get prepared. Prepare, 準備。準備をする。支度をするってね、言葉がね、そもそも同じ言葉だから、prepare って同じじゃん。そこで支度をするって言葉をチョイスは絶対しない。So yeah, that itself is like very Japanese.
ちょっとその前に少しだけ YouTube の仕事をしたくてっていうのもちょっと書類と
具合が悪いとかもう言わないですよね。体調が悪いっていうから外国の人って外国人までうまいよね。外国人の友人をすごい見てきてるから彼らの真似するだけなんで
送んなきゃいけなくてちょっと書類とかを送っていきたいと思う。
はい、もう日本人じゃん。日本人パオロはちょっと待ってね。順番に見ていきましょう。日本人彼女は日本人 And Paolo, yeah, Paolo, I'm kind of curious like how he speaks Japanese. Does he ever... Does he ever speak Japanese, though? パオロが喋ったことあんまりパオロさんのチャンネルって見たことないんですが Does he ever speak Japanese, though? And thank you, Methodical, for saying that. Paolo is my favorite, no joke. Paolo from Japan? From Tokyo? Huh. I don't think he speaks Japanese in his videos, like, I mean. Does he though? Yeah, he doesn't, right? The only video he probably speaks Japanese here is like...
In this video, I'm going to have a one-on-one lesson anywhere in the world. Perfect for those you learned at home. Choose a teacher. How many people in the group? Ask you is, continue with the video. Number 1, how many people? So when you first enter a Japanese restaurant, the first thing they're going to ask you is how many people in your party or your group. But you might not know what that sounds like. So here it is. They'll say, "Nanmei-sama desu ka?" or "Nannin desu ka?" And the easiest way to answer...
わからない。それだけじゃわかんない。ちょっと this is kind of impossible because... Yeah, this is kind of impossible. I'm gonna guess he probably gets like this question a lot. So he's gonna be here though, at least. But I'm not sure like if he's gonna be here. Because like people here are some like actual god tier people. Like Dogen, Matt versus Japan. like Kei-san, Kathy Cat, like those actual like linguists, right? So I'm not sure if he's gonna be here or not, because like we cannot see him like speaking Japanese, but he's gonna be here at least. So yeah, he's probably here, but I cannot really put him here, because yeah. So, but let's see. And Methodical's yeah, Methodical's here. そもそもこの人ソフトウェア開発してるんですか？ソフトウェア開発ってことはでもあんまり日本語。Yeah, Methodical's here. I mean, probably people would tell him like, "Ah, your Japanese is good." So. Where S? As in like S? ここ。S はここ。ラビンさんはマジでここ。ラビンさんはちょっとね、So Rabin-san, there's like this one viewer, like on my channel, right? And I think it's a she, but I talk about, so like when I talk to my YouTuber friends, like I talk about her as a great example of like people who kind of just speak Japanese when like they are not even like in Japan. And we still like don't know who Rabin-san's from. And like it's a mystery in like our, you know, group of like friends. Ravin sounds like the only exception. Like everybody else is gonna be probably here over here. Like A is like Dogen tier. Like you legitimately just go to like libraries and freaking study Japanese like for 11 hours a day. But Ravin son's gonna be here. You should share this Google sheet with me. I can, but not now because I have to upload it and I have to give you the link later. But I mean, but yeah. Naveen-san wa, yeah, I mean, you guys can probably just like learn Japanese from like Naveen-san. Then just ask her like how she learned Japanese. It's actually crazy. Because a lot of things just like make no sense. Because like she says like she is not Japanese. But the way how she speaks Japanese is just like, it's just like, what the fuck? So. And, And thank you, Pokemon ZR. Have you done Sasami? Let me check it later.
確かに。
実はね、昨日ね、ルイ先生の切り抜きで、
左って言った？ Left, right?
新しい単語を学べました。
だからそう、ラビンさん、ボロ出るって言葉をね、外国人に言わないのよ、ちなみに。そう、これね、日本人の人見てよ、これ。そう、see? そう、what she's saying right here is like, ボロ出ますって絶対言わないから、これ、ボロ出ますって言葉は外国人言わないんですよ。文法悪くなるとか言うんだよ、みんな。ここ、ボロ出ますって言わないの、外国人は。本当に。ボロ出ますっていうのは日本人しか言わない言葉よ、それ。っていうことで。
ちょっと待って、ダメ、ちょっとダメ。
I don't know which one's like her.
私の賢者タイムってさ、
送って
多分ダメです。
やつだろうね、君。
多分ダメです。多分ダメなので、メッセージ送ります。
一回メッセージ送って。
あれ、日本人っぽいな、これ。ちょっと日本人っぽいな。おい、日本人っぽいな、これ。だいぶ日本人っぽいな。
行ってみようか。一回メッセージをね、送ってみることを確かに。
実はね、昨日ね、ルイ先生の切り抜きで、新しい単語を学べました。
外国人だな。この人は日本語上手なのに可愛く見せるためにわざと片言。それわかんないよこれ。わかんない。
ダメ、ちょっとダメ。やめてよ。ちょっとやめて。私切り抜きタイムってさ、ちょっと。
いや、まあ、なんというかな、まあ、悪い、まあ、そうだね。まあ、悪い意味ではないんだけれどもね。 その
いや、日本人じゃないこれ。This is Japanese though. She's Japanese though, no? Like, probably she grew up in Japan or something. Like, what? Like, what?
なんていうか、いろんな意味を含めてる。
無理だよ、これ。絶対無理だよ。
っていうね。なんか
She's Japanese though.
いろんな。
赤い字の、赤い字の。ああ、yeah, okay, okay. The red characters. Like, this.
やばい意味をして学びました。
はいはい。
あなたこの言葉の一番やばい。これだと思うけど。
学んだ。わざと、学んだことじゃなくて、なんかいろんな事情で、学ぶ。
B だ。B だ。Yeah. Never mind. I thought, yeah, the orange characters like were her, but yeah.
学ぶことになりました。
なるほど、いろんな事情が
Yeah, this voice, but yeah.
見てこの言葉を。なる
あれかな、日本語上手づもりかな、これどっちだ。
そうだね。これはね、まあ確かに言わない。
ね、ルイ先生、ネタの言葉学びました。ネタの今後の。
いや、これ日本語上手止まりだ、これは。I don't know what her name is, but ロベル right? いや、でもね、ちょっとね、How long have you been in Japan? I don't really think people would ask her like how long she's been in Japan though. So ロベル Wait, oh. Well, what's her name? 箱 Bells. Oh. And so like the definition here is here again. Like people would ask them how long they've been in Japan, right? I don't think she gets that question. Like, oh, how long have you been in Japan? She might, yeah. This is kind of hard. But yeah, I don't think she gets that question. Yeah, this is kind of tough. Yeah, I don't know. This one, yeah, is kind of tough. B そう B っぽいんだよね。Yeah, B っぽい。And you're right. 外人グーバー and ショーゴ。I mean, that they are Japanese. 外人グーバーって誰
読みたい漫画はレンタルチーク。読みたい漫画はレンタルチーク。モスバーガー。これが新商品。映える。このチーズソース。ソース垂れてるここ。たまらん。チーズソースの量がバグってる。
So you don't, yeah.
モスから白いモスバーガー。ねえ、モスしよう。セットもネット注文で。
I could rant. That's kind of a heavy.
I kind of doubt he speaks Japanese like on his channel. So maybe CB. I don't know. Like I really have to like watch his entire thing. But I mean, ショーゴさんってあれだよね。最近すごいバズってる人ですよね。あの人、he's Japanese だっていう。he's Japanese. And Pokemon ZR ささみ。
So I found this app on natural conversation. Well, this dessert, sarada. So if I press skip, it will get sarada. Is this as an answered in your answer?
Yes, arigato. God damn, I didn't want to hear myself. This is freaking like pitch modified as well. Like I remember I did like a voice for this language learning app and 元気です。ありがとう。元気です。ありがとう。Yeah, that's like freaking from like 2019. よかったです。
よかった。
よかったです。Yeah.
です。
元気。あなたは？
What the f? That's not me.
よかったです。
それをお聞きして嬉しいです。あなたはどこから来ましたか？
日本人はそれをお聞きして嬉しいですなんて絶対言わないけど、まあ。
I am from 私はニュージーランド。
ださい。
I'm speaking and
ここ。I don't think she gets questions like めちゃくちゃ似ててさ、もしかして声吹き込みました？はい。あれは自分です。That voice is me. Like there was like this one time before when a client of mine told me like, hey, do you do voices for like learning apps? And I was like, I mean, I do that, yeah. And they basically gave me this script in like broken Japanese, which happens a lot, by the way. And I freaking voiced it. And I was like, wait, by the way, there are a lot of like sentences that make no sense, but do you still like want me to do it? And they were like, yeah, sure. And I was like, sure then. So that was just basically what that was. And Murasaki, thank you, she's Australian. Yeah, I figured out, so. And this is Paolo, right? ブライトサイドもソラさんですか？ブライトサイドは自分じゃないんじゃない？あ、でもどうだろう？待って。わかんない。自分かも。けど、あれ、俺っすよ。なんだっけ。That channel's me. これ俺。
スポーツには思わず尊敬してしまう瞬間、心温まる瞬間がたくさんあります。
これ。
今日は
スポーツには尊敬してしまう瞬間、心温まる瞬間がたくさんあり、Yeah, that's me. And what else? この興味深いじゃん。Yeah, that's me. And マットラブもそうっすね。みんな知ってるだろうけど。これ。That's also me よ。これ。完璧な仕事を探す人もいれば、今の仕事を完璧にこなす方法を探求する人もいます。完璧に仕事をする人もいれば、完璧ななんとかかんとかなんとか。これよくコメントでキモいって言われてるんですよね。Let's see like if the comments are saying like the voice actor is cringy. They're just talking about the video. Like nobody's saying like the voiceover artist is like cringe. Somebody knows! 中の人は空だとDude, he knows! He's like, the voice actor has to be for that role. 日本人の、and he's basically saying like, so this is a video translated from a MATLab's video, but what do you guys have the right to use the video? And basically what's with this channel is like, they have this one channel called a MATLab in English, and the owner is basically the same person. And this guy they don't speak Japanese like at all. And they just hired Japanese people to just make a team. And the voice actor, well, like voiceover artist was me there. And the translator is Japanese, and she does a lot of like translations for like a lot of like other channels. And so yes, this guy in fact like has like all the right to use like all the videos because he is the one who runs a lot of like other channels. And he does videos like in other languages too, like Japanese, Russian, English, Korean too. It's the same person, yes. But yeah, either way. The 750. Thank you, Chani Bethy Poo Poo. Boobs Cutie is going to bed. Virgin Senpai loves you. By the way, Sensei, you look very handsome in your glasses. Just take the goddamn compliment. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. And have a good night. Great night. Take care. ロシア語の見せてくれない。ロシア語のチャンネル名がわかんないんで、ちょっとすいません。Let me just talk to my Japanese viewers. So, the English one is called MATLab, right? Yeah, this is it. ロシア語でマットラブの言い方わかんないんですよ。ロシア語で多分検索したら出てくるかな。それがわかればワンチャンあるんですけど、いや、わかんない。うん。ソラさん 思っていたので50倍ぐらい。多分自分 YouTuber としてよりかは声優としての方が名前通ってると思う。みんな多分自分の顔は知らないけど声は聞いたことあるっていうのは多分自分なんですよ。割とゲームとか広告とか割と自分やってますよ。最近よくやってるのはあれ。あなたなら戦国を統一できるか。あれもう俺だし、最近どこでも流れてるみたいですけど。いやこれワンチャンハーフジャパニーズっぽく聞こえる。ちょっと待って、これハーフジャパニーズっぽく聞こえる。これハーフジャパニーズっぽく聞こえる。
know this place is fast, so no need to speed up the video.
いるじゃん、ああいうテンションの人。Yeah, I've seen like freaking people like him, like speaking Japanese like that.
$25 seconds. That's a world
I
record.
mean, like only 2 sentences. Like it's
right
just kind of
there.
hard to know. Like
After getting your bowl, you can choose some sides like fried toppings or inari sushi.
he didn't really say anything. I don't know. I really cannot just read him, but like he's gonna be either here or here. Like yeah, it's around like this range. But it's hard because like yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And so わかんない。これは無理。It's around here. But he's not gonna be here though. On par with like these like actual Japanese people because like they are freaking like boom, right? But こっちかな I don't know. Yeah, こっちかな。これだけで判断難しい。マジで難しい。これは。Andでもまあ I mean everybody's freaking better than like this cringy guy like right here. So I mean, you know, that's one thing. And Stormwatch Eagle. Look at IRYS. Okay. Love your channel. Thank you so much for telling me that too. Thank you. Good girl DM. I'm curious like who that is too. Speaking Japanese.
暑い夏こそ丸亀うどん弁当。キュッと冷たい打ちたてうどんに季節の味わいたっぷりの。
ちょっとだけ日本語のも答えますね。I'll translate this as well. デビューおめでとうございます。素晴らしい歌声でした。日本語が上手でびっくりしました。
いやだこれ日本人じゃないか。ちょっと待って、これ日本人じゃないか。
ちなみにコメントするときは漢字やカタカナを読めますか？
なんかだから I mean yeah, she might be Japanese. This is like you know, this is basically like a Japanese girl like trying to sound cute in Japanese. Like yeah, これは日本いや日本人じゃない。So she's not Japanese. Okay, but
時には漢字は簡単なのは読めます。
だからshe does this too. Like 簡単なの。Yeah, that's like the biggest part for me to know like when somebody's like Japanese like 簡単いや簡単なのは like that's some Japaneseness right there.
例えば
いやだ see 例えば
マシュマロ例え漢字その必要な漢字が全部入ってた場合
必要な漢字いやこれはねいやハーフでしょYeah, right. I mean, she's got some like Japaneseness in her. It's not like she speaks like fluent Japanese.
でも一応読めます。
けどこの人多分これあれだ海外の人だやっぱり。けどこれハーフジャパニーズのジャンル入れていいんじゃない？
なのでそういう日常的によく見る漢字は読めます。はい。特別な漢字とかあんまり見ない漢字はもう全然読めないです。
俺みたいなやつね。俺も漢字苦手ですけど。
はい。
Half Asian but not Japanese. But like what?
日本語でもコメントしてやってくださいっていうのも簡単な漢字でも読めます。はい。Okay, next. 日本語ってどのぐらい話せるんですか？はい。日常会話レベルです。
いや、ちょっとこれね、これは half Japanese. Like she sounds so Japanese. これは、yeah, this is just really difficult.
専門用語はとか言われたらもうポカーンってなります。
あ、ポカーンってなる。あ、はい、はい、はい、わかりました。はい、わかりました。はい、わかりました。ここです。ポカーンってなるなんて外国人は言いません。はい、ここです。ありがとうございます。はい、yeah, she's here. She's here. ポカーンってなる is like something, yeah, something like Japanese people say. Like, ポカーンってなります。Because like, if you were not Japanese, like, you would go like, ポカーン? What's ポカーン? It's a sound you make when you don't understand things, right? It's a sound you make. It makes no sense. Yeah, ポカーン, like that's a sound you make when you don't understand things. ポカーンってなる。Yeah. I know it makes no sense, but that's just how Japanese works. And she just did that, so I'm like, oh, okay, that's Japanese. アニメとかでよく使われるかな。そうなんですけど、でもアニメで使われる音とかの概念って外国人わかんないらしいですよ、あれ。
ポカーンってなります。
ほら、ポカーンってなりますって。
早口言葉。
これはわざと言ったやつですね。早口言葉。
Twisters。Japanese tongue twisters。早口言葉で3回ずつ生麦、生米、生卵。
あ、はい、日本人、Japanese。はい、Japanese。はい、Japanese。And I'm curious how good Girl DM's Japanese is. So, Japanese. Girl DM speaking Japanese. 俺より生麦、生米、生卵言えてる。これ簡単なコツみたいなのがあって、なんて言うんだろう。生麦、生米、生卵、生麦、生米、生卵、生麦、生米、生卵、引くんすよ、声を。そうすると言えるっていう、これ、声優テクニックでございます。
Today, we're ready to share our whole
RapGod Japanese edition. 生麦、生米、生卵、生麦、生米、生卵、生麦、生米、生卵。バスガス爆発ってあるじゃないですか。あれもバスガス爆発って言うんじゃなくて、バスがス爆発って言うと言えますよ。
with the world and welcome you on board with
声優テクニック。
もしもし、ようこそ私のストリームへようこそ。なんで、いやね、わかんない。みんないつも日本語で喋ってって言ってしまったら、みんなは全然日本語を喋れないんでしょ。私の
そう、外人やるよね。喋れないんでしょ。やるよね、外国人ね。そう、これやるよね。いや、this is not really something we say that much. It's like, やれないんでしょ is like, oh, did they really die? Oh, am I back now? Oh. That was weird. I didn't do anything, but okay. So, what was I talking about? 擬音語を少し使うことだけで日本人レベルになれるか。So, Gaijins. I'm gonna just say Gaijins, right? Gaijins do this one thing where they say, 何々なんでしょ? でしょっていうのは、でしょ is like, YouTube tries to shut you down for being cringy. Yeah. Something the show is like it's what you say when you are like talking to like children though basically. I mean not actually. But yeah, it's not something you say that much.
どうする？
普通は何々なんだよね. It's usually like だよね instead of like でしょ? わかんないよねとか。
どうする？字幕を待っている。
これはでも、C かな、C。
いつか YouTube で見てて、あ、
Is でしょ not used at all? It's not like, it's used in Japan. Yes, it's used. But, 何々なんでしょよりかは、だよね is more common. Like, だよね、よね。何々なんでだよね。やってない。I mean, we say でしょ too, but like, I see a lot of like non-Japanese people like who say でしょ everywhere. And yeah, that's kind of remarkable. Like when people say like 何々でしょ at a like interesting moment, I can usually just sense some like foreignness. And I can just usually go like, oh, she's foreign. Which is like nothing bad though, by the way. そう微妙に場面使う場面が違いっていうかなんか let me explain here
いやねわかんないみんないつも日本語で喋って日本語で喋ってって言ってしまったらみんなは全然日本語を喋れないんでしょ
これみんな日本語を全然喋れないんでしょっていうから喋れないよねの方が it's common so she's saying like みんな日本語喋れないんでしょ right but 喋れないんでしょ喋れないよねとか there's something yeah it's just hard to explain like why like this sounds like foreign but ask any Japanese people like they will say the same thing like this sentence itself sounds foreign
私の答えは全然わかんないでしょ
これ this one right here 私の答えは全然わかんないでしょいや this one sounded actually normal I don't know why but kind of like how Sora uses by the way too much it's just me being like weird 私がそうやって言ったらどうせみんな英語喋れないんでしょ的な感じで言いたかったのかもなんだろう言い方の問題なのかな Oh I just did that too いいねなthat Japaneseness right there but yeah
どうする字幕を待っているいつか YouTube で見ててあギャルディアンは日本語でバーッと喋るの動画を探す
Here maybe so here these are the people who actually live in Japan kind of thing like who've been in Japan kind of thing so the difference between like people here and here are like they both sound good but like they kind of know how culture works in Japan and they are more like they're interested in Japan and they kind of want to learn the language is like what it's like kind of but yeah she can be here too but ないなんでしょう yeah that part is just kind of it sounds kind of foreign to me so how long have you been in Japan は言わないかなあの人には maybe yeah maybe by the way I have to make sure it's not a bad thing to sound like that or like it's not a bad thing to not sound like a Japanese person like there's nothing wrong with it to make sure so I think you should put back that other tier this cringe I mean this is kind of important because like people who actually say senpai kakoi is kind of cringy yes and people who say learning Japanese that's also cringy too by the way yeah that Sakura Miko next please Sakura Miko sure Sakura Miko ははい日本人です日本人です日本人です日本人です Yeah I guess I'm gonna get off now because like it's been freaking like 3 hours バレたも何も日本人です日本人Sakura Miko は Japanese Sakura Miko is Japanese okay I'm gonna get off now actually because I've been like streaming for like 3 hours now so yeah but basically this is the like what the tier list looks like put the starting to learn beginner I don't know because I mean either way people would still like tell you like oh your Japanese is good so I think like this tier kind of works I guess so this is kind of more vague this one right here because it includes like actual like beginners like including PewDiePie who just started actually learning Japanese to a girl like her right and yeah so this is kind of vague yeah because starting with like PewDiePie to her and her Japanese was like actually really really good but 各社クリンはいや日本人なんでここですねここも本当にキモい人しか入れない so yeah that and so that's it for today but to make sure this tier doesn't mean like how good your Japanese is like this tier doesn't mean like how bad somebody's Japanese is this tier just only means exactly this like oh your Japanese is good oh how long have you been in Japan Japanese teacher and they're Japanese and being bad at Japanese is not embarrassing either, by the way. Some people just like think that being bad at Japanese is like embarrassing, so you shouldn't speak Japanese like when your Japanese is bad, but it's not how it works. How it works is like you can speak Japanese, you can learn Japanese, and it's not cringy to learn Japanese. What's actually cringy is when you say stuff like this. This is actually really cringy to me. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like you want to learn a language, right? You want to study, and there's nothing wrong with like learning something. So it's not cringy. So you can learn Japanese. You can learn Japanese by watching anime or whatever. It's completely, there's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong with like making grammatical mistakes, whatever. That's kind of why I didn't put that here. But this is cringy actually. This right here. And that's cringy too. So if you are like worried about whether you sound stupid, like when you speak Japanese or something, you shouldn't worry about it. I mean, we literally just like saw a lot of like YouTubers, but like Japanese people never say, "Oh, this guy is bad at Japanese." You literally just saw the chat, right? That was actually part of the stream too. That was like part of like the purpose of like this stream. Nobody literally said like, "Oh, this guy is bad at Japanese." They say like, "Oh, he doesn't sound Japanese, he sounds Japanese." That was weird grammatically, but that's it. Nobody says like, "Oh, your Japanese is bad, her Japanese is bad." So you shouldn't worry about that. What you have to worry about is here. You shouldn't care about grammatical mistakes, your vocabulary, whatever. It's not that important. But what you should worry about is like whether you are being cringy or not. Like that's what you have to worry about more than anything. Like, so there are a lot of like people who just go like, they have like some amazing vocabulary and like amazing like grammar and stuff, but they say some like rude stuff. They do some like rude stuff, and they just kind of like don't consider the cultural differences and whatever, and they just, you know, bash at Japanese people. I think that's the worst thing you do actually. If as long as like you don't do that, Japanese people will seriously tell you this in the first place. That's kind of why there's no like bad at Japanese tier, like, you know, bad grammar tier and whatever, because like seriously, it's not a thing in Japan. I mean, I put this here though and Japanese tier though, but that's it. So is your Nihongo being called umai better than Jozu? Umai and better are the same thing. So yeah, you shouldn't worry about whether your Japanese is bad. You shouldn't worry about whether you can be in this tier, that tier. This is just, I don't know, this just explains like what kind of person you are when it comes down to just speaking Japanese itself. So do whatever you want to do. If you want to learn Japanese, go ahead. If you're like worried about sounding bad, don't even worry about it. What we care about is like whether you are a decent person or not. And so I couldn't tell how to differentiate people between the tiers, so I didn't comment much. Yeah, I mean, even for me, it was like kind of hard, right? Especially around here. So it's just that. Like, we seriously don't care like how good your Japanese is and how bad your Japanese is. So if you're worried about, you know, speaking bad Japanese, don't worry about it. People don't care in Japan. So, God tier super Saipan weeb. God tier is basically weebs who successfully became Japanese. And there's like Rin-san. Yeah, so like again, like all those people who are saying like Kiryu, Koko, and Kei-san here. Kei-san sounds more natural, and she can actually teach people Japanese now. When she was Kiryu Koko, like there was something interesting about the way how she spoke Japanese before. Anyway, so that's it for the stream today. So thank you so much for coming to the stream today, everybody. And thank you. Did you learn English from anime? I learned English watching Justin Bieber's like documentary stuff and like other stuff. So, but thank you so much for the donation. So that's it for today. I think I'm gonna just like try to read everything for 3 minutes. So let's go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. They are being genuine though, by the way. Let's do this. What you have to know is that they are being genuine like when they tell you this, because Japanese people like genuinely believe that Japanese is like the hardest language ever. So if you know how to speak Japanese, even only a little bit, like Japanese people will be like, oh my gosh, like this guy speaks Japanese even though it's like the hardest language ever and we don't even speak English well. This guy speaks Japanese and he's in Japan. Wow. So yeah, I mean, they are being genuine. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I might just die it again, but let's see. When you get in the puppy. Ah! I'm really sorry. Remedies, thank you. Thank you for the stream. Thank you so much for the donation. I'm really sorry. Like when I say pink things, I just do that. I'm sorry. When you get in the puppy. That's a great question. 服に最高にダサい日本語書いてるの好き。ゲリ弁とかね。すごい好きですよ。あ、ソラニーこんにちは。あ、トームさんこんにちは。今ちょうど終わるとこです。今終わりますってやってる最中です。今。すいません。What will you do on Sunday? I don't really have like any plans yet, but let's see. すみません。ほんとすみません。ほんとすいません。ほんとすいません。ほんとすいません。Live and X, your Japanese is good. Thank you so much for the donation. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. すいません。ほんとすいません。ほんとすみません。ほんとすみません。ほんとすみません。ほんとにすみません。I'm really sorry. Like I didn't want to do this. I bought Shiba. Classic Japan, and I know you love that doggo more than anyone should love a doggo. You'd be like a Looney Tune character here called Elmira. Okay. But thank you so much, Remedies and Livan X. Thank you so much. Why do you hate our ears so much? I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to do it. 許さないよ、そんなに。ほんとすいません。マジで条件反射なんですよ。リアルに条件反射。マジですみません。D Fluent, thank you so much for the donation. I'm really sorry. Like I didn't mean to do it. Like seriously, it's just like, what is this called even? Like I just do it. When I say pink things, like my brain just automatically reacts to things. So I'm really sorry. Elmira crushes small animals by hugging them too much and too tightly. That sounds like that's me. Partially. ソラさん時々ポカンとするね。ポカンとはしないっすよ。リアルな話していいっすか？YouTube は 0.25 を取るんですよ。かけ 0.25。だからまあ 75% 以上取ってるんですよね、大体。最近 0.4 とか取るんで、割と30ぐらい入ってくるのは。50入ってきたら30。Thank you so much for the donation です。Thank you. なんかリアルに入ってくるのは、Should I just like talk about this like in Japanese as well? Because like some people are probably curious about this. So he's saying like, so how much does YouTube take? Like if you get $50, right? So we get like about 60% off of like all the donations. 60 to 65 depending on like what app, what browser you were on. If you're on iPhone, if you were like on apps, we only get like 60% off of it. If you guys are on the browser, then we get like 70%. So let's say if we were to get like a $50 one, then we get like about $30. Streamlabs, we get like freaking 99%. 98% actually. So on Streamlabs, this will be like 49, 47. On YouTube, it's like 30, yeah. So YouTube, takes like 30%, 40%. Basically. Same for like ad revenue, merch. So, quite a bit cut. Still it's a lot of money, so still it's like a lot of money, so I never complain about like money related stuff. I mean, it's still a lot either way. It's a lot of money. It's not the amount of like I get. It's not like about the amount of money I get. It's more like the amount of like support I get is like I think what matters the most, and that's kind of why there's like no membership and whatever, because I think it's kind of stupid like if I have to like make, you know, difference between like people who are in the membership and who are not, because there are some like people who are really young, like probably 12 and 13, and still are interested in my channel or Japanese culture and whatever, right? And I don't really want to make that wall like because of like membership and whatever. So but yeah, anyways, let me just read the comments again for like 3 minutes from here. I kind of didn't read things. The thing about it is like it's something, it's what some people have to do to be fair. Some people are like full-time YouTubers. Some people like need the money to like live their life. In my case, I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I have like other jobs, and I'm not really that desperate because I can live my life. So yeah, I mean. Yes, PayPal. Like Streamlabs PayPal. Like we get some, yeah, we get 2 times more money that way. But it's whatever. I don't really care about it, honestly. I think it's because like what you said was something. Maybe you said something that sounds like inappropriate, maybe. 赤スパの時も叫びますよ。てか普通になんかびっくり。え、そんな来るの？つってすごいびっくりする。You're desperate in other ways. I don't really think I'm that desperate about things. But translations, voice acting. I've been actually making money by just like doing some interviews and stuff too recently. I cannot talk about it that much because like all the things I've been doing are like under NDA. So what's the story behind Stars of Vegas? It's basically so Methodical went to Vegas and he basically showed me like there, and I was like, I'm gonna make a song out of this because I felt like I could. あ、トームさんありがとうございます。こういうのはさすがにびっくりしない。すごいもありがたいですが、すごいありがたいし、すごい感謝しますが、うわーってはならないですね。これ本当に条件反射なんですよ。あれわざととかじゃなくて、これリアルに条件反射で、めっちゃびっくりするんですよね。普通に怖い、あれ。そうそう、あんまり、なんかそうやって言うと感謝してないみたいに聞こえるのなんか違うよな。That was when I drunkenly FaceTimed you with my mom, right? Yeah, I saw your mom and I freaking like greeted your mom. I freaking talked to your mom a little bit. So, do you like farming? Not really. This is probably a month ago. Have there any noise complaints? Yes, or not to be rude though. This is a soundproof room, so. And you couldn't hear shit because I was on Fremont Street in Vegas, yeah. いや、本当にマジで一回 YouTuber やってみてほしい。すごいびっくりするから、本当に。There was no consistency, yeah. いや、実際に演技でやってるのと本当にびっくりするのはまた別で、なんだろう、なんかびっくりする、普通にびっくりする。自分なんかあれなんですよ、ゲームやってる時に親とかに肩叩かれたりするとめっちゃ驚く人だったんですよね、子供の時から。多分それっす。あれと似てるものがある。No, I just said like just yeah, penis. そう240円はねマジで大金ですから。最近$2 is a freaking huge money though, by the way. Like if you guys didn't know, like you can do a lot of stuff. Like if you have like $2, by the way. So いや、素質っていうかやれば誰でも YouTuber になれるんでやってみてください。ねえ。いや、そうだから。
親に肩叩かれるあの感じと似てる、マジで。Twitch, like, yeah, 7 years ago, yes. So I think it's been like 3-4 hours, maybe 4 hours. I don't know like how long I've been streaming. So thank you so much for coming to the stream, everybody. And I'm gonna do something on Sunday, like something cringy. So again, remember everybody, the tier list was just you know, it was nothing. It's not like, it doesn't decide like who's good at Japanese, who sucks at Japanese. It just basically means like who belongs to like what, who belongs to what category and whatever, which is whatever. What's the most important thing like when it comes down to speaking Japanese is like whether you are polite or not. Oh, are we done already? Time really flew by. I think you came in like 20 minutes ago. I forgot. But yeah, so the tier list sucked. Yeah, I know. So anyways, I'm gonna get off now. I will see you guys on Sunday. Take care. Bye bye. Penis!最近外配信とかしないの暑いから海に返しのがやろう。暖かくなったらやります。はい、never in the stream. Okay, I'm gonna actually get off now. So, bye bye everybody. いや外がマジで暑くなければやりますけど、外行くと携帯壊れんすよ、マジで。この前ヒートアップして終わりそうになったんで。ってことで、see ya everybody. Bye bye. Thank you so much for the donation, Leave and X. Alright, take care. Bye bye.